Welcome, Lund loyalists, YouTubers watching on John Lund Unleashed and the Bay Area Sports Collective, those watching on X and Instagram and listening on Apple and Spotify. It's John Lund Unleashed and JohnLundUnleashed.com. Brought to you by Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Right now featuring amazing stem cell technology. For all your pain and for the guys, check out the latest in low T and testosterone therapy to make you feel like yourself again. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center at riopelcosmetic.com. Now, all juiced up and ready to go. Here's Johnny.
Yes, as you can see right there, welcome, ready for battle, as in the 4 seed. Get it? Get it? Yeah. There's the two faces of Kyle that have seemed to have gone viral. There are your San Francisco Giants at 5-1. Problem is, the Dodgers are 8-0 and the Padres are 7-0. We'll get to that. Opening day is tomorrow against the big rival, the Seattle Mariners. Good morning. You are watching even on the East Coast. It's good morning at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock East, 8 o'clock West, wherever you're watching. Thank you for making John Lund Unleashed part of your day. We're growing the community, and it's all thanks to you. Please make sure you are subscribed on John Lund Unleashed, even if you're watching on X, possibly, at John Lund Radio. Come on over to YouTube and John Lund Unleashed, and please subscribe. Hit the like button, which helps the algorithm that makes it so that YouTube says, you like us, you really like us, and then they recommend our stuff to other people, and it grows the community, which is nice. Bay Area Sports Collective as well. By the way, Tommy Tolbert, the Tom Tolbert Show, is going to be on the Bay Area Sports Collective at 11 o'clock this morning, and he'll have Franny. Tell him Franny sent you. Kevin Franson's going to be on at 11 o'clock with Tolbert, so make sure you flip on over there. When we are done, probably around 10 Pacific time, and then you can flip over and see Tom Tolbert on Bay Area Sports Collective. That's where my show is, John Lund Unleashed, the Tom Tolbert Show, and of course, Polymax Particles with Polymac and Creative Tony. So make sure that you're there. However, you're watching today, though, and let me knock him up. I was going to knock him up. I'm not going to really knock him up. I'm going to get him online here. Let me get. There we go. We got Instagram rolling now. So we are on X at John Lund Radio. We're on Instagram at John Lund Radio. We're on Twitch as well if you like to watch there. LinkedIn, if you're screwing around and actually working for a living. Facebook, John Lund. You can friend me there, or John Lund Unleashed. Please like the page so we can grow that page on that platform as well. But however you're watching, thank you for making the time. We got a ton to do today. If you are new, there's a chalkboard to that side right there. That is the chalkboard for episode 105, the Warriors at the Lakers. And it is a big game, but actually, as I wrote there, can the Dubs get to number 4? They can get to number 4 because I actually did the schedule game, which you do the schedule game in football in the NFL, and the 17, soon to be 18 games come out. And you say, win, loss, and you don't do that in the NBA. You don't do that in baseball. It's just too long of a season. You don't know who's going to get hurt, all those kind of things. But we can. Now that there are about 7 games left in the season for Denver, they're 47-30, so they're actually gettable. But of course, they have the season series on you, so it's doubtful. And plus, I looked at everybody's schedule, so we're going to play the schedule game a little bit. And I will tell you unequivocally, without question, what the standings will be at the end of the season. Not really. You'll probably laugh at them. So it'll be a lot of fun because I'll tell you what the standings are going to be projected by me, and then they'll probably be totally different. But let's do it anyway. The JK deal, he keeps saying he wants a max. I'm not doing that. If I'm the Warriors, we'll talk about it. Giants sweep the Astros after I came back from my lovely trip to Sacramento, which, by the way, was not a bad trip whatsoever. Very, very quickly from where I sit in San Ramon in the East Bay, about an hour and 15 minutes was what it took. And I left a little bit early. I cheated. I left in the 7th inning when it was 8-2 Cubs, but I got my fill, and I understand. I know what Sutter Health Park is all about and all that kind of stuff, and I have some thoughts on everything there, and I wanted to go up there because I've been to most every major league park, and so I didn't want to talk about the A's situation or playing in a minor league ballpark or what it felt like or what it looked like or anything unless I went up there. And it was a beautiful day. I mean, it was 60 degrees and sunny. I was even warm in the sun. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the summer there. But I want to talk about it real quickly, and not only just the A's, it was more the atmosphere and what it was like and all those kind of things. And I talked to a few people and all that stuff. So I got that, my trip to Sacramento. The Giants early are excited, but I did come back and watch the Giants Ohtani, it's a real quandary that we find ourselves in when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, because we realize that we're watching a generational player, one of the best players. We are so into right now the best, this, that. It's got to be the best, the best, the best, the best, the best, the best. I don't know where Ohtani is on the list. And I really don't care. I don't care if he's on a Mount Rushmore. I don't care what list he's on. I don't care. I just know this. You know when you're watching a generational player, but he plays for the Dodgers. So when he played for the Angels, it was like, cool, let's see it. I saw Shohei Ohtani's first home run when he was with the Angels. George and I went down for a spring break for George, and we went down to LA, and we saw in consecutive days, we saw the Angels, the Dodgers, the Lakers, and the Clippers. Boom, 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 boom. And so day-night kind of stuff. So we go Angels, Clippers, we went Dodgers, we went Lakers, and we saw Shohei Ohtani's first home run, and we didn't really think much of it. It's like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. This guy, Shohei Ohtani, he's pretty cool. But we didn't really think a whole lot of it. And then all of a sudden, stage here. Hang on one second. Wow, that was wild. My everything reset. Tell me if I'm on here. Let me go out to the thing, because all of a sudden, I just lost everything on my screen. Everything is gone off my screen. Okay, there we go. I think I'm back. Am I back? Can everybody hear me? That was wild. Okay. Does everybody hear me now? That was wild. What happened there? That was absolutely crazy. Hang on one second. What happened there? That was crazy. All right, we good now. I'm just gonna have to reset the. I'm just gonna have to reset the videos. All of a sudden, man, everything just went. Let me see. Yeah, so we have no. Okay, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna remove all these from the studio because all the videos just went blank, and so I'm gonna have to reset all the videos. That was wild. Yeah, all of a sudden everything just went. So I'm gonna have to do a little producing on the fly here, just very, very quickly. It'll just take a second. Hang on 1 minute, and let's see if I can get. Yeah, okay, there we go. We got this stuff back. I'm gonna do this really, really quickly because I want to get some of these videos for the show. So let me just do this really, really quickly, and we're just gonna do some on-air producing super fast. Just take me a second because I have a bunch of stories for the show today and I want to get them on, and we might as well just do this all at one time. See if we can do this. Got that. I was just in that. All right, one more. And I think we should be good. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it just all of a sudden just things flashed, just like a big pop. and just everything just all of a sudden everything is just gone. Yeah. We got you. Okay, I think I am back. Everything good. Everything good. Everything good. Are we good? Let me just get some back. Yeah, all of a sudden everything just popped. So I think we are good. Let me just double check. Let's see, that was at 8:16. So we're good, right? Everything good? Yes. Okay. I'm going to assume that everything is good as I am back. It says I'm back. It says that the audio is going. Yes. Okay, are we good? Let me just double check. I'm going to go to the bottom here because I'm okay, did I do it? Is everything good? Let me just ask you one more time. Is everything good? Hear and see. Okay, give me a little feedback. Okay, morning Lund heads, good John. Okay, good. Hear and see, all good. Okay, thank you. I don't know. Like I said, right, I was in the middle of something. I don't remember what I was talking about, but I was in the middle of something, and all of a sudden my screen and all the lights, maybe it was just a power surge in here, but everything just went, and just everything just kind of popped. So I'll start again, and I think you heard most of what I said in terms of promoting the show, so everything's good as far as that goes. Thank you for joining us. John Lund Unleashed. We are on YouTube. We are on X. We are on Instagram. We are on all those places. Great. I think we're good to go. I told you that Tom Tolbert at 11 o'clock this morning will be on Bay Area Sports Collective, where I am, where Polymax Particles and this show, and Tommy's going to be going at 11 o'clock. So Golden State at the Lakers. I told you that I am going to be Nostradamus today, which I'm not very good at, but I'll play the schedule game. Regardless, the JK deal, the Giants sweep, early or excited? That's the question I have for you today, as I will be at opening day tomorrow. I'll get you all sorts of great stuff tomorrow. So again, I'll do a short show tomorrow on a Friday, and then I got to run to Oracle Park, and I want to, get in the dugout and talk to Bob Melvin and do all that kind of reporter stuff. I'm going to go back to my early days and be a reporter again. So I'll give you tons of stuff, and I did give you a full report from Sacramento yesterday with the A's. And like I said, I don't want to talk about a stadium or a situation or anything like that without having seen it. So I got a pretty good idea of what's going on in Sacramento. So I'll give you that as well. I think where we popped was I was talking about Otani, and that's probably why it popped, because we were in the Bay Area and I was talking about Otani. But the quandary that I think we find ourselves in the Bay Area is we know we're watching a generational player, and I don't care where he is on a Mount Rushmore or a list or anything like that. I'm not into those things, as you know. But I know that, part of you, like when he was an Angel, and I think I was telling this story, this is what I was in the middle of, is I went down and saw his first home run, and it was really cool to watch. And because the Angels are really not a threat to anybody, nobody really cared what Ohtani was doing. Now he becomes a Dodger, and you got to have an opinion on him one way or the other. Either you love him, you hate him, but you're sitting here and you're going, he's kind of like Steph Curry. He's generational. He may not be on your favorite team. Obviously, he is here in the Bay Area, but like in LA, they were at the soccer match last night in LA, and they showed him up in a booth, and they were booing him. Well, no kidding. There's our Laker fans there, and they're going to boo Steph Curry. They would never do that here, but they understand too that he's generational. So they may boo him in a box, and then they're going to go and they're going to watch the Lakers and the Warriors tonight. They're not going to be able to help it. I mean, I've just seen crowds through years and years of doing this where they want to dislike a player, but they just realize in their mind they're generational. So when they do great things, they're just like, oh my God, and they just can't help it because that's just what comes out of you. So like last night, and I'll play the highlight, unfortunately, as the Dodgers moved to 8-0, where Otani comes up in the ninth inning, the game's tied at 5, and all of a sudden he hits a home run, and it's like, it's almost expected. And he's with the Dodgers and he's in Dodger blue and you want to hate it and everything, but it's like I'm watching a generational player, one of the best of all time. Wherever you want to put him on your list is cool. But so part of you is like, God, it's pretty cool what he just did, but damn, I hate that he's doing it for the Dodgers. Maybe I'm 100% wrong and you're just like, I hate the guy, period. So we'll get into that. Kyle's appearance is taking on kind of a life of its own as we were kind of talking about it. Now all these people are doing all these side-by-sides about Kyle and all this stuff. We've been talking about it for years, but we'll get into that conversation too, just because random things happen throughout the show. And I have a couple of pieces of Sweet Clean Family Friend Caboose Pistol, one video and one picture that I'd like to discuss. Oh, plus there was one thing I needed to double check before the show today, but I didn't. But anyway, there we go. An extended version of the Open because we had a little technical difficulty, but we figured those things out. because I'm a professional. I mean, that's just what it is. I'm a professional. I can get us out of these kind of situations. All right, let's say good morning to everybody, and I'm glad that you're joining us on a Thursday. Man, we got a long list this morning. Baba Booey. John Holmes is here. Hurley Bird, good morning. Tacky. I chugged a beer at the game for you guys. I even have the video for it. Dr. No. Hello, Dr. No, and I'm sorry to hear that. Maybe there could be an issue. There's lots of different things that could be causing that. I am not a doctor myself, of course, as you can tell. Ernesto Ron is here. Jeff, good morning to you. Hello, Todd. AJ, nice to see you, man. Enrique, Colin, rockin' New Era. It is always good to see you, my friend. By the way, if anybody's going out to opening day tomorrow with the Giants, please let me know. I'd love to say hello to you. Christopher, Chris, good to see you, my friend. Mark, Sports Girl for Life. Good morning to you. Jake, good morning. Man, we're getting a good list. Pine, it is awesome to see you. Are you back now finally from the snow? Kenny Smith, hello. Yeah, I'll tell you this, Kenny Smith. I told you, and I said this in a video that I sent out yesterday. I got my kid to do that Brent Rooker at plus 2,500 to lead the American League in home runs. The thing's a bandbox. It was 60 degrees yesterday and the ball's flying out of there. What's it going to do when it's 100? I mean, you're going to hit a pop fly. Oh, it looks like it's a infield pop fly. Wait a minute. That ball is out of here. It's just like that ball flies. Seiya Suzuki's like, I love this park. Anyway, there you go. IT guy. Yeah, IT guy fixed everything. Everything looks good. I think everything's good. So yeah, I'm an IT guy. That's what's going on. Yeah, it could be. It could be any hackers, man. All of a sudden my screen just popped like, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. So anyway, I think we are good now, though, right? We're good now. Everything's good. John Harder, it is good to see you this morning. Good morning. J49. Yeah, let's do connect. You let me, Dom, you let me know where everybody is, and I will absolutely be there, man. Yeah, definitely hotter than Oakland. My God. Oakland this time of year, I would have been wearing some sort of a puffy jacket and all that kind of stuff. I wore a hoodie. And I had almost like a windbreaker kind of a jacket. I sat in my seats, and I'll show you where my seats are if you didn't see yesterday any of the things that I posted. But and by probably the third inning, sun was out. Like I said, it was only like 60. I was warm. Like I took my jacket off. I could have easily taken my hoodie off, except for I had nothing underneath it, and nobody wanted to see that. But yeah, it's going to scorch, and the ball is going to fly out of that joint. Rick, it is awesome to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Victor, I know I've seen you in here before, but it is awesome to see you once again. I want to make sure that if you are new in here, please say that or hello. Yeah, absolutely. If you're around, we will chug a beer at the game, and the beer will be on me because I appreciate everybody coming out. So anyway, I did chug a beer. In fact, yeah, let me well, it's not at the top. I'll do it in order. I was going to pop up my Sacramento video from yesterday, but let me just hold off there. Let's try to do this thing in order. But anyway, good morning to everybody. Sorry about the quick glitch there, but given the IT expert that I am, I fixed it very, very quickly. So John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, John Lund Unleashed, Bay Area Sports Collective, Tom at 11 o'clock with Franny. We're on Twitch. We're on X at John Lund Radio. Instagram as well. Hello and good morning to the people on Instagram or however you're watching. Please migrate over to John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you give us a follow. Tell all your friends and enemies. All right, let's do this. And now I was all excited about doing this, and I thought, you know what I'm going to, as I pop up the show cover today, ready for battle. And of course, that is for the 4 seed. So I was very proud of that. There's Kyle down at the bottom there with his grim look that everybody's going with. That's probably going to become some sort of a meme if they lose this year. And then you're very excited about your 5-1 San Francisco Giants, except for Ohtani and the Dodgers at 8-0, and the Padres, the fathers, are 7-0. So it's, as we thought, not going to be a really easy division. But let's start with the Lakers and the Warriors. So let me just do this because I'm going to give you what I think is going to be the final standing. So let's stick a pin in this. I'll take a picture of it. I'll keep it on the board here until the end of the season and see how accurate I can be. But this is what the standings, let me pop these up real quick. And as the Warriors go to the Lakers tonight in LA, pretty big game, I would say. So first of all, I'm so stupid for keeping this bracket thing going because no matter what the Warriors do, so I'm like, oh, they flip to the other side of the bracket. That's awesome. And then there's just the Nuggets again, right? It's like, oh, great, they got away from the Nuggets. Oh, never mind. The Lakers are the 3 now. It's just it looks inevitable, like a magnet, that the Nuggets are going to play the Warriors in one side of this. I hope it's not the case, but right now, as you look at the ever popular bracket, it's 4-5 for the Nuggets. It's 3-6, and then they're on the side of the Thunder, which I don't absolutely hate. So we'll get into that conversation. But I want you to take a quick look at the standings here. I don't care about 1 and 2; they're done. But from 3 to 8, this is really interesting. So Lakers now at the 3, Nuggets, Warriors. You can see that. Blah 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 blah. So what I have is I have the schedules for all these teams, and I am going to tell you how this thing is going to end up. So let's try this, all right? And you're going to see some seriously fancy graphics that you've never seen before in your life. Sports graphics. There you go. You see the L's and the W's. See how fancy that is? See the little GS in the corner? That is professional graphics right there. So the Lakers tonight, I'm even going to give them an L tonight. I'm going to give them an L in LA against the Lakers. And the reason I am is because they're 0-3 against the Lakers this year. We don't homer out on this show. We tell you like it is. So they're 0-3, probably going to lose tonight against the Lakers. Now, they have not played the Lakers with Jimmy Butler, so it is possible they could win. And this is a big game, and they often step up in these big kind of games. So I'm not saying they don't have a chance, but they haven't beaten the Lakers yet. It's in LA. So I'm going to give them an L. They never beat Denver home, away, with Jokic, without him, with Murray, without him. So all of a sudden they're off to this 0-2 start. But then I'm going to give them a win against the Rockets. Suns don't have Durant. Spurs, please. Portland, please. And then I left the Clippers blank, but I think they're going to win that game. So my powers of seeing into the future, being very clairvoyant, I've got so that's 2 losses and 5 wins. So I got them 5-2 down the stretch. All right, is what I have the Warriors. I'm just doing these randomly. This is the Lakers. I have them beating the Warriors tonight. New Orleans losing back-to-back against Oklahoma City. Now, Oklahoma City, it's too early for them to shut it down. I mean, they've got everything clinched, except for Cleveland could catch them for the best overall record. So they're going to keep playing, guys. So that's what I've got them. I don't know why I have them losing in Houston at home. They probably won't. Yeah, I guess they would lose to Houston at home. I could see that. So there's the Lakers the rest of the way. There's the Clippers the rest of the way. And like I said, they're only 1 game back. I left that last one blank, but I think that the Warriors, it's just the only reason I left it blank is because if those 2 teams don't need it, they're not going to play anybody. So, but I've got them winning back-to-back against Dallas. San Antonio's packed it in. Pack it up, pack it in. Houston, Sacramento. There's the Clippers the rest of the way. Minnesota actually has a very easy schedule. Brooklyn's already packed it in. Philly's got their golf clubs out. Milwaukee, they may need that. Memphis, we just saw the other night. They gave the Warriors everything they had, but they're just falling apart. Brooklyn, Utah, they've already given up. There's the side of things for Minnesota. And then Denver comes into this thing. I thought they'd be done, but they're already 47-30. So they've only got 5 games remaining. So at the Warriors, they always beat the Warriors. So that would be a surprise. Indiana at Sacramento. Memphis, like I said, packed it in. Maybe they lose at Houston. But then again, Houston probably has nothing to play for in that game. They could win that game only because Houston could be resting everybody on the last game of the season. Denver could need that game. So I could see Denver winning every one of their games. And then Memphis the rest of the way. Look at that graphics. Oh, my God, those are professional. Look at that MEM in the corner. At Miami. Miami all of a sudden is playing great basketball. Detroit is playing good basketball. Charlotte's packed it in. Minnesota, there you go. Denver and Dallas. Memphis could lose all their games. They could even lose to Charlotte. Who knows? They're struggling. So you're asking yourself, after having gone through that amazingly graphical exercise right there, Lund, what does that all have to do with anything? Okay, it has to do with this. And another fine graphic right there, as you can see, very high quality professional graphic. So that's where we are right now. On the left-hand side, on the top, Lakers 44-31, Nuggets 47-30. That's exactly where they are now. And then to the slash side of it is what I've projected them out to be at the bottom. So right now, Lakers, Nuggets, Warriors, T-Wolves, Clippers, Grizz. What I see the rest of the way through my win-loss thing is Nuggets in the 3, Warriors in the 4, T-Wolves, Lakers, Clippers, Grizz. So what does that mean? Well, Nuggets and Lakers in the 3-6. Thank you. And neither of those matchups, if it ended up like this, and of course, like I said, it's going to because I'm the great predictor. Actually, no, I'm not. But if it ended up, that would be actually best case scenario for the Warriors because 3-6 Nuggets and Lakers, neither of those matchups are good. They haven't beaten the Nuggets this year. They haven't beaten the Lakers this year. So we'll see tonight if Jimmy Butler makes a difference or how big of a difference Jimmy makes. But I see the Nuggets with only 5 remaining, at least winning 4. And like I said on that last Rockets game, that could mean nothing to the Rockets, so they could rest everybody. So I think the Nuggets could even win 52. So I think the Nuggets are going to be the 3 seed. If you drop the Lakers, even with a loss tonight, and I have the Warriors losing to the Lakers tonight, even with that, I have the Lakers dropping down from the 3 to the 6 the rest of the way, which would mean a 4-3 record, I guess, the rest of the way for the Lakers. They would drop into the 6. So both of those teams you really don't want to see. The Nuggets or the Lakers haven't played well against them this season, and they would go head-to-head, which would be huge for the Warriors. Best case scenario, other than the Grizz, I think, getting them, which they're going to drop. So Timberwolves in the first round, but you get home court advantage. Both teams with the same record. Warriors have the season series over the Timberwolves. That would decide home court in that series. They'd get Timberwolves at home. What would you think of that? And then you'd have the Clippers playing in the play-in. You'd have the Grizz playing in the play-in. That's kind of the way I see it the rest of the way. But one game makes a massive difference because I see the Warriors and the T-Wolves tying, and the Warriors have the home court advantage on that. But if the Warriors lose one they're supposed to win, which they do sometimes, then the Timberwolves could actually get that, and then they wouldn't have home court. So you can see how tight it is, though. Even the Lakers, 48-34. If the Lakers were to win one and tie into that scenario, then the Lakers would move up, and the Warriors would be all screwed up. So anyway, I'm not going to overdo that, but that's kind of how I see it the rest of the way. We'll stick a pin in that thing. You can make fun of me later for not even being close on these type of predictions, but that's how I see it the rest of the way. And like I said, as of right now, the Warriors would play the Nuggets in a 4-5 and not have home court advantage. And that's probably worst case scenario because of all the places that there are to play in the league because of the elevation, and that's no joke, the Warriors would have a really tough time. So not only do they struggle with the Nuggets, they wouldn't have home court advantage. And that would be a major problem. So what do you think? What do you think of my skills? I'll go out to the I know that there's going to be a lot of people making fun of me, but I'll go out and see what you think. The graphics, absolutely phenomenal. I know. I probably need Dom's help. My graphics are absolutely terrible. That would be really nice if you could help me out with that. But there you go. So that's what I've got for the rest of the way. Let's see. What do we have here? Yeah. Did you like that? Did you like all that predictor? But yeah, low operating cost. Yeah, that was just me this morning, just throwing some graphics up. I mean, why do I need to make fancy graphics? Yeah. Look, the Thunder could win 70. One thing is, and thanks for that, Chris. Here's the thing. I'm just going to pop this up real quick just because it comes up with the Thunder. I like the Thunder. They've had a really nice season. But this stuff, and I worked for ESPN for 10 years, so I understand. I labeled this under STFU because this is so stupid. So if I was Mike Greenberg, I just refuse to do this. But Mike Greenberg wants to know if OKC is having the greatest NBA season ever. Not like in the last 5 years, 10 years, whatever, ever. And so he's trying to throw up numbers and all this kind of stuff. Is Oklahoma City having the best regular season ever? And it's like, ESPN makes you do this. Like I said, I worked for him for 10 years. ESPN makes you do this. The greatest this, the best that, the Mount Rushmore, the greatest QB, the blah, 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 the rankings, the list, the. It's low-hanging fruit, and they think we're stupid as sports fans, and so that's what they do. And I understand. And look, I'm not trying to split atoms because you do want to keep things simple. There was an acronym when I first got into the business. Keep it simple, stupid, KISS. You've probably heard that a million times. You can apply it to any business. Keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS. I understand it. It's business, it's sports, it's everything. Just keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate us. We're busy. Just keep it simple, stupid. I understand that. But when I can't tune into these shows. I just saw that online. I didn't watch it. But it melts my brain because it's like, look, all you have to do, and I'm very fond of this term, and you know this, just watch the damn games. You know, I covered those Bulls teams. We all saw the Warriors, and I covered those Warriors teams. Like, those teams were dominant. I mean, dominant. Jordan's Bulls, they would sick the hounds on you defensively, and that was it. Like the Celtics teams of the 60s and, It's just like I said, I'm not Bob Costas here, and I'm not trying to respect the past, but it's like, can you respect any of the teams? I mean, the Celtics won 11 championships in a row, and Jordan's Bulls were so dominant and just crushed teams' souls. And the Warriors, when they won 73 games, I get it that they didn't win the championship, but you're just trying to throw out there the greatest regular season ever. They started 24-0. Steph Curry and company didn't even play fourth quarters, 3/4 of the time. Just watch. I don't care how many points they outscored a team by and all this kind of stuff. And I know that Greenberg doesn't believe it because he knows the history of sports. But the fact that he could sit up there with a straight face and try to throw up a bunch of numbers and even suggest that Oklahoma City is having the best regular season in NBA history is so laughable. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off on a soapbox because we like to have fun in here. But my God, it's just it melts the brains. It makes us all dumber. It's like Happy Gilmore, or not Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison. It's like we're all dumber for having heard that. Stop it. Like I know that ESPN isn't the standard that it used to be in terms of the sports reporting, and they're in bed with so many different entities, and it's in their daytime programming, it's all about clicks and shock values, and okay, Kendrick Perkins, you say this, and Screaming A, you say that, and it's all contrived and it's all pre-done because I've been in those meetings, and like I said, I've gotten the oodles of email. It used to be paper, but emails from people who say this is what you're going to talk about, and this is the research shows, and they send those things out every day. So I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit here, and everybody, you take this side, you take that side. I mean, it's mind-numbing, and it's just the lowest common denominator, lowest hanging fruit kind of stuff. But it's like, how can you with a straight face say that? I mean, just watch how dominant the Warriors were. Watch how dominant the Bulls teams were. I wasn't around for the Celtics in the in the 60s, but they won 11 straight championships, and they have all these Hall of Famers. They were dominant. I mean, you can just go back and come on. And if some producer came to me and said, "Okay, Greenberg, this is what you're going to do. You're going to make the case that Oklahoma City is having the greatest regular season of all time," and then dumbasses like Lund are going to talk about it, and it's like how dumb it is, and it's just like, and I don't want to fall into the trap, but I saw it this morning, and I'm like, God, seriously? You could say that if I was Greenberg, I just think no. Like, what else? I know that we're going to do a list or a Mount Rushmore or something like that, but I'm not making the case that Oklahoma City's having the greatest regular season of all time. I've seen the game. Greenberg started in Chicago. Like, he knows those Bulls teams. Like, I just feel like I'm not doing that. Anyway, sorry. Schedule game we just played. Let me go to this JK stuff real quick. Let me see. Where is that thing that he wants? God, all the schedule stuff that I had up there. Oh, here we go. JK wants the max. Boy, that's small. Jonathan Kaminga reportedly seeking a 5-year, $224 max contract. Anthony Slater says Warriors are hesitant to commit and could explore trade options if a deal isn't reached. I'm not giving Jonathan Kaminga 5 and 224. If they were hesitant to give Jordan Poole that money, and I think the Jordan Poole, first of all, the Jordan Poole contract was in reaction to Draymond Green punching him, like, oh my God, let's make this right. And then that thing kind of blew up, and whether Jordan Poole's worth that, I don't know. But he's scoring on a really bad team. I don't know what Jordan Poole would do on a really good team. We've seen it a bit with the Warriors. I think he's a little bit better of a player. So I don't think that contract is that ridiculous. But it hurt Jonathan Kaminga clearly that he was out for a number of months with that ankle injury. And we've said this time and time again that we just still don't know what he is. Does he have the potential? Yeah, but I'd say this all the time. Potential is actually a bad word. People think that potential is a good word. Man, that person has so much potential. Hasn't reached it. That's why you're using the word. We don't say that Steph Curry has potential. We don't say LeBron James has potential. We don't say Shohei Ohtani has potential because they've reached it. Potential just means, man, you have a big-time ceiling, but it means you haven't reached it yet. Potential is actually a bad word in every walk of life. It means that you have the ability to do something, but you haven't done it for some reason or another. So potential. You get to a certain age and you don't have potential anymore. You've wasted your opportunity. So I like Jonathan Kaminga, and I think his potential is great because of his athleticism. He's shown maturity since he's returned, although he's hurt again. In that I thought they would come back and his agent would be telling him, because this contract potentially is on the table, potentially, where you'd say, man, you've got to show that you're worth this money. But still, after all these years, so whether it would be he's not ready, or whether it be he got hurt, or whether it be he hasn't reached it. And so now the Warriors are sitting back going, damn, it's getting close to D-Day here. And he and his agent are going to say, based on my potential, I'm going to get a max contract. And basketball is not like football. So if you make a mistake with Brock Purdy, that's not great. Okay, they signed him to that big time contract that's going to be close to $60 million a year, but they're going to structure it in a way that's going to give them an out. It's just like, everyone freaks out over Ayuk, and I say this all the time. It's a 3-76. So if Ayuk doesn't work out, you're going to be out of this contract in 3 years, which isn't the worst thing ever. On and on and on when it comes to football, how it's actually said, AAV, like I tell you about, versus what's guaranteed and how you can get out of the contract in the NFL are two different things. But when you give somebody a major amount of money and you're the Golden State Warriors, plus you're in penalty land, which they are now again with Jimmy Butler, you're going to be giving out a lot of money to Jonathan Kuminga, and it's going to hurt the bottom line. And if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm sitting there going, the whole 2 timeline thing, that's way gone and blown up and all those kind of things. And now I'm looking at Kaminga, and I do want to have a future for this organization. I mean, I know that Steph Curry is getting close, and Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, and, we're not going to do a 2 timeline thing, but is there a whole lot of difference between, and this is the way I always look at Kaminga, if you're going into the future with or without Jonathan Kaminga, you're in the lottery. With or without Jonathan Kaminga, you're going to win 20 or 30 games. With or without, I mean, you're looking for that base of your house, right? This is the base, and this is the build around piece. And I know it's too early to even tell. I don't know if Jonathan Kaminga is or is not going to be that. My inclination is, now that he's been with the team for a few years, is at best, he's a Robin, not a Batman. So he can be a secondary piece to that superstar, but I don't think he's ever going to be the superstar. He looks like a complementary player. Really nice, great athleticism, can get to the rim. Hopefully his game continues to mature. I think watching Jimmy Butler is really going to help him. I could be 100% wrong. He could mature into a guy. What is he, 22 years old? He can mature into a guy in the next few years that could be the guy. But it just seems like there's certain guys like this, and I've told this story before many times. But when I was up in Portland, Rasheed Wallace was being hailed as a number 1 type of a player, but that just wasn't his mentality. He wasn't a killer. He didn't want to go out and score 25, 28 a game, carry the burden of a team, be the face of a franchise, talk to the media every night. And I know we're spoiled with Steph Curry, but it just doesn't seem like, and you can use like the American Idol as kind of the backdrop of something like this, or the example, where it's like, do you see Jonathan Kuminga, if you close your eyes, do you see Jonathan Kuminga not only scoring 25 and grabbing 10, but also like commanding a microphone and being the leader and being the Steph Curry type? And just because everything that should go along with a max contract is, okay, you're the next. I know this is a hard comparison to make, but you're the next Steph Curry, which is, I don't expect you to be the perfect CEO of a basketball team, but you're going to lead, and you're going to take guys under your wing, and you're going to be the guy at the press conference, and you're going to say all the right things. And there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. You're a pure number 1. You're the Batman of the team. You're the CEO of the franchise. Do you see that in Jonathan Kuminga? Because I don't. And it's not a knock on the guy. I think he could be a tremendous Robin. I think he could average 20. He could average 10. He could be a stopper on the defensive end. He does have that athleticism. It's a maturity thing right now with him. And from what I've heard behind the scenes, at times it's a coachability thing. It's an ego thing. I don't see him as that. And it doesn't mean that every player that you max out has to be that. But one of the reasons to make the Brock Purdy comparison again is I see him as a CEO of a franchise, of saying the right things, of doing the right things, of being a leader. We hear from a guy like Trent Williams, where from day one, he walked in that huddle and here's this guy who's kind of meek. I mean, when we do interviews with guys from training camp every single year. Last year, when we were talking to Brock Purdy, he stares at the ground. He stares down like he's a little bit like, but then you get him in a huddle and he's like, man, he commands it. Or you get him in front of a microphone after a game and he commands it. He's a little uncomfortable in one-on-one type of situations, but you get him in, and most people are the opposite of that. One-on-one, they can be really, and then they get him on a stage and say, Purdy's kind of the opposite of that. So he's a CEO type. You can just tell. I don't think Kaminga is. Do you have to be that? It'd be nice, Because if I'm Joe Lacob and I'm going to max out Jonathan Kaminga, I want you to be the next. You watched Steph Curry. It doesn't mean you have to be him. He had a different kind of an upbringing. He was in an NBA family. He understands. He's been around it. It doesn't intimidate him. I don't see Kaminga as that. Now, could he grow into it? I guess so. But on and off the court, I see him as maybe a number 2. Do you max guys like that out? Yeah, you do. You do, but then you're still looking for that guy. So that's, I guess, my overall point is, let's say in the offseason they move him just because they're not comfortable in giving him a max contract. They're going to run it back with Jimmy Butler next year. There's very little to any drop off to Steph Curry's game. Draymond Green can play at a really high level because his game is based on basketball knowledge. Is not based on jumping out of the gym. And actually, Draymond Green has gotten a little bit better offensively, hasn't dropped off defensively. He is certainly a player who is in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's going to be Daniels, the kid in Atlanta, but still, he's in the conversation and should be. So they've got another year with this team. So if you look at it just in the short term, I say to myself, okay, Butler's going to be there, Green's going to be there, Curry's going to be there, at least I think, for the next couple of years. So where does that leave Kuminga? Do you max him out? I would really struggle with it if I was Joe Lacob. I'd just be like, do I max this guy out and into the future, and he's going to be my guy? If I was sitting in the room with Joe Lacob and helping advise him, I would just say, where are we going to be with and without him? So Steph's gone, Jimmy's gone, Draymond's gone. What's Jonathan Kaminga? He's a really nice player that I'd like to have on my team, but he's not my next franchise face. I just don't see it. He might not even be the Robin. He might be like Jimmy Butler's the third guy right now, or Draymond's the third guy, however you look at it. He might be that kind of a guy. Really, 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 really good glue type of piece. Now, he's going to score more and do all those kind of things. He can do a number of different things, I think, eventually in his career. But is he going to take over a game and score 55? He's going to then go to the podium afterwards and give his teammates credit. And I don't know. I don't see it. And so I guess that's what I want out of my max guy, even though there's a lot of guys that are maxed or close to it in this league that aren't even close to that type of a CEO type that are the whole ball of wax. But I would ask Joe Lacob, or say to Joe Lacob, if we move this guy for another really good piece to help us around, let's say they don't win a championship this year, which it's unlikely they do. Not a great matchup with Denver, not a great matchup with the Lakers. Oklahoma City, a great regular season team, but I would say in a 7-game series, especially if you have a grinder in the first round, Oklahoma City probably wins that series, although they're a young team. So you don't win it. Let's say just for the heck of it, you win in the first round. All right. You don't play Denver. Let's say you play the Lakers and you win in the first round. And then you get knocked out in the second round by OKC and you lick your wounds and you say, okay, what do we need? And you can use Jonathan Kaminga as a piece to get that piece that you need. I wouldn't be that broken up about it if I was Joe Lacob, because I already made the decision to go get Jimmy Butler, which means I'm going to do this for a couple of more years and try to win a championship. I'm in the win Steph a championship mentality. And I can either give Jonathan Kaminga a max contract, or I can use Jonathan Kaminga as a means to get another piece. I think means to get another piece is the way to go, because I'm not sure on Jonathan Kaminga. And when I do drop into the depths of hell of the NBA and have to get back into the lottery and be what I was with the Warriors 20 years ago, 15 years ago, where am I? Well, I'm a little bit ahead with Jonathan Kaminga, but I don't know that it makes that big of a difference. I'm in the lottery with or without Kaminga. I'm really bad with or without Kaminga. I like him. It's not that I don't like him. It's just that I think he might be more valuable as a piece that can help me win a championship now than actually something where, and this is where I think fans, we all get into this whole kind of situation, but what if we regret it? We regret this trade. We regret that trade. That guy turned into a superstar. There's definitely that potential, there's that word again, for that to happen. But I can't manage scared. If I'm the general manager, or more so the owner, because he's going to make that type of a decision to move Jonathan Kaminga, I can't be afraid of that. If I had to predict Jonathan Kaminga's career right now, I would say that he's going to be a 20-point scorer, going to grab about 6 or 7 boards a game, be a pretty good defensive player. He's going to be a nice player. He'll probably make a couple of all-star teams. He's going to be a nice player. But is he going to be that dominant, type of a guy? I don't think so. I just don't think he has the mentality. And you can see that, and you either have that or you don't. And the comp I make with Rasheed Wallace, like I said, was when I was in Portland, was he was a 20-point scorer, He was a really good defender, actually, because he was long. He was super athletic. He could shoot from the outside. He could do all those things, but he didn't have a killer mentality. And so I've told you this before. Then I move on to Detroit, and there comes Rasheed right afterwards. And there's Chauncey Billups, and there's Rip Hamilton, and there's Tayshaun Prince, and there's Ben Wallace. And there's all these guys on the Pistons where Rasheed Wallace could kind of just mesh into the team. He didn't have to be the man. And in Portland, they were like, he's got to be the man. He's got to be the man. Got to be the man. He's our number one guy. And he wasn't. That was not his mentality. He did not want that. And so then, Scottie Pippen's on that team. They trade for Scottie. They trade for Steve Smith. And all of a sudden, Rasheed's like, okay, but they still wanted him because he was the young guy to take the reins of the team and stand up in front of the media. And that was just never what he was going to be. So he goes to Detroit. He wins a championship as a complimentary piece, a really nice one, but a complimentary piece all the same. And that's kind of how I see Kaminga. I don't see him as that guy. I don't see him as that killer. I don't see him maturing into that. He's young and he could, but I don't see him being like one of those guys where we go, oh man. Because if the Warriors in the next 2 years with Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and then the piece they could add with Kaminga win a championship, or at least even get close, and you say, hey man, they showed balls and get to this thing, then I would be fine with that. I wouldn't go back and say, oh, they shouldn't have done that. Now, if he turns into a superstar and I'm not going to say a Curry type because Curry's so unique, there's no comparison to that. But if he turns into that, 8, 10-time All-Star, wins an MVP, yeah, you're going to regret that move. But right now, at 22 and what we have to go on him, a 5-year, 224, if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm going to be in the lottery with or without him. I'm going to lose a lot of games with or without him. He's not going to be my building block base of my house piece. I don't see it. So there's my thing on Kaminga. Look, I understand why his agent would ask for it. I think there's a team out there. Everybody is in different situations. I believe that there's a team, a young team out there that would give Jonathan Kaminga the contract he desires. No question about it, because they're in a different place of the Warriors. And I think Kaminga could get you a really nice piece that could add to this team. And now that Jimmy Butler's around, and I had a totally different opinion about this team, that if you watch our show on any regular basis, I was like, this team's a 10th place team. Like they're not going anywhere. So I might have kept Kaminga around just because I was looking at this team going, they're not a championship contender. Right now, they're a pretty good team. Don't think they're going to win a championship. You move Kaminga for another piece next year to add to Butler, Curry, Green, and you add another piece that Kaminga could bring. You might be I'm not going to say you're going to be a favorite for the NBA title next year, but you're pretty damn good. So anyway, Gary F. Welcome, Gary F. Curry, Butler, and Green still on the team. JK more like Alfred, not a Batman. Exactly. Yeah, he's Alfred. I mean, he's your fourth guy at that point. And 2 years down the line, I mean, this is what we're talking about. Because now that they have Butler. Now I'm thinking of the Butler. Now that they have Jimmy Butler, all of a sudden you're thinking to yourself, okay, Kaminga's not going to be that major piece for another 2 years. And the contract's up. And so all of a sudden you're going, okay, are we giving him, you're going to Joe Lacob going, are we giving him 5 and 224? I'm giving my fourth best player 5 and 224? I don't know, man. I mean, this is a Joe Lacob decision. 100%. 100%. So anyway, give me your thoughts on that. A little Masters discussion. Very nice, man. Holy strawberries, Batman. We are in a jam. Absolutely, we are. I love the term side piece, by the way. I don't even know where that's coming from, but I just love it. Kenny Smith says, I like this. Entertaining, but not that damn entertaining. Let some other team pay the price. That's kind of how I feel. You summed it up. I went like 7-8 minutes there. And Kenny, you just summed it up very quickly and much, much better. I wouldn't pay him. I just wouldn't pay him. And, Kaminga following the Poole playbook. I agree with that. He should follow closer to Moody, play the long game. He can put a great friend, or that useless fire. Yeah. See, that's kind of how I see it. And I've said this. Look, Moody and Kaminga are really interesting because obviously they were taken in the same draft. Moody understands that, look, I'm going to be this complimentary player. I'm going to get all these open corner threes. He's an effort guy. He doesn't have the length, the athleticism, any kind of thing like that, but he fits with this team. He fits. He understands his role. He plays beyond his years. He's a mature soul, as people will say. That's kind of Moody. That's why I was always scratching my head going, why is this guy not in the rotation? Like every time he goes out there, he doesn't make a mistake. He understands his role. He can play with anybody. I understand that it's not sexy. He doesn't have the upside. He doesn't have the athleticism, all those kind of things. I'm not saying he's better than Kaminga. He's not, but he fits. And for years and years and years, I've told you this. When I worked for the Blazers years ago, and it was Pippen and Steve Smith and Damon Stoudemire and Rasheed Wallace and Bonzi Wells and all these, and Bob Whitsitt was their general manager, and he thought it was a fantasy team. And he brought on Rod Strickland, and Greg Anthony was there, and all these, and it was like, God, you're not trying to get, and Stacey Ogman and all these guys, and it was like, you're not trying to get the best 1 through 12. You're trying to find pieces. Sabonis was on that team. Jermaine O'Neal was on that team. It was like, it's not fantasy basketball. You're like, he was impressing his friends. And it was like, my God, man, like you need chemistry on a basketball team, not just all the greatest players. You need chemistry on a basketball team. And he didn't understand that. So I'm not saying Moody in the same draft is a better player than Kaminga. He's not, but he fits what this team is doing. So as far as Kaminga goes, all I'm saying is I would have a real hard time giving him 5 and 224. And I don't think it's against, like, his agent's asking for it. Like, I totally get it. And if I'm his agent, I'm asking for it too. But now that I've looked at this whole situation longer, and we debated this at the beginning of the season, and they added Jimmy Butler, and I think that's the main point here, is that you added Butler and you gave him an extension. So that's 2 more years that you're going to have Jimmy Butler after this one, and that's 2 more years that Jonathan Kuminga is not going to be a main source on this team. Now, could he be again, given the offseason, because he had the injury, now he's just trying to fit into this whole thing. So now you hit the reset button, and next year, Kuminga could be a really valuable 6th man off the bench. You maxing that guy out? And Joe Lacob has never, we talk about finances all the time, whether it be the Niners, the Giants, just in general in sports. There is some sort of a ceiling here. And if I'm Joe Lacob, I'm thinking to myself, I understand, and I've made this mistake of trying to worry about the future and worry about the future. You can't really do that as an organization. You have these small, short windows to win championships. Sometimes they're 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. What the Warriors have done for so many years is so unique because you don't get these windows. So you have to think of it. We've been spoiled in this way. You have to think of it as like 2, 3, 5 year windows. Giants won those, 3 World Series in 5 years. That's just, okay, you got that window. You're out of the window. You're in the window. You're out of the window. As far as Kaminga, you can't think 5 and 10 years down the line. Now that you made the commitment to Butler, it's 2 years after this one. So where does Kaminga fit in that? As a 5-year, $224 million or max player as a 6th man? I couldn't do that as an owner. I'd just be like, let me get a player or 2 who fit better, or picks in the future or whatever, because then when we are done with this, then I could have a situation where, Oklahoma City finds themselves in, or some of these teams that have all these picks coming up in the draft, and now they can move around in the draft, and now you can rebuild your team that way. Because like I said, I just don't think Kaminga is the type of guy where you may have regret in trading him, but the thing that I think Joe Lacob has to come to the realization is you're in the lottery with or without him. You're at the bottom with or without him. So when all these guys leave, Kaminga is not going to keep the team afloat by himself. So what's the point in keeping him now and maxing him out? All right, that was a long one on him. I didn't think we'd go that long on JK. All right, here's where we are, episode 105. So a lot of conversation. We've gone 53 minutes into the show on where is it Lakers tonight? Can the Dubs get to number 4? Schedule game I played for you. Let me do this really quick if you just joined the show. This is how, you don't even have to watch the final week of the season. I told you, this is how it's going to end up. Bottom there. Nuggets 51-31. Warriors have the tiebreaker over the T-Wolves 49-33. Lakers 48-34. And I have the Lakers beating the Warriors tonight. Clippers, Grizz. There you go. That's how it's going to end up. So Warriors, T-Wolves in the first round, and Warriors get home court. You're welcome. Just kidding. I'm sure that's not going to turn out like that. All right, let me hit up some Giants. And by the way, please tomorrow, hit me up. You can hit him up either way, John at JohnLundUnleashed.com, and tell me where you're going to be, or John at John Lund Radio. Tell me where you're going to be, and you can go to the website at JohnLundUnleashed.com. I'm throwing a lot at you there. But if you're going to be at the park tomorrow, let me know. And I'm going to go in early. I'm going to talk to, I'm going to get in the dugout and talk to some players and coaches and knock around on opening day. But I'm definitely going to be around. I'll be posting some content, so make sure that you have your alerts on here. But so I'll be doing what I did yesterday, posting some shorts and everything like that from the game. But so make sure you hit me up tomorrow if you're going to opening day in San Francisco. But huge yesterday. The Giants get the sweep over let me just move up some stuff for the Giants here. The Giants get the sweep over the Astros. That is the good news. There's what yesterday's game looked like. Ramos with another extra base hit to extend that to a franchise-tying 6 in a row to start the season. Wilmer Flores, another home run, so that's 4, or the total amount that he had last year. Matos mania going crazy because he goes 2 for 3 with a home run, and everybody's like, Matos. Everybody loves Matos. Randy Rodriguez could be that 7th-inning guy that I wanted Hicks to be, because he throws gas. It's just a matter of, is he nuke Lelouch? Does he know where it's going? Because if Randy Rodriguez, with his stuff, can control said stuff, that could be your 7th-inning guy, and that could be a really nasty 7, 8, 9 with Rodriguez in the 7th. And I know that the situation at the end, but I mean, like Walker last night was absolutely great. Duvall, because if you're going potentially, there's that word again, Rodriguez with Duvall and then Ryan Walker, my God, and then Rogers is Rogers. I mean, we just all sit there and go, he's throwing 71. How can this work? But it does. So we don't have to worry about that. And then there's Hayden Birdsong coming out of the bullpen, 2 innings pitched, no earned runs. Roop wasn't bad. Roop wasn't bad, but I just think that Birdsong's going to take over for him. Birdsong is just, he's a flatliner. Nothing really seems to bother him. No situation is too big. I don't mind him coming out of the bullpen, but I'd certainly rather have him throw on the ball every 5th day. So we'll see between Roop and Birdsong what happens there, but I really like that kid. So pitching staff is really, really good. The good news is the Giants are off to a great start. The bad news is this, and add another win on the Dodger total. I put this up last night. So the Dodgers are actually 8-0. I'm going to play something for you in a second on that. The Padres are 7-0. So as good as the Giants are, it's like, are you kidding? Like, they're 5-1. They're playing great baseball, but then this division is so damn good, and that's not even Arizona's 3-2. I didn't even put them in the picture there, but it's ridiculous what the Dodgers are doing. Let me just hit this up if you want to feel good about things. So I went good news, bad news. Here's good news again. This from NBC Sports Bay Area. When they get off to these kind of starts, if you believe in that kind of stuff, again, it's ridiculously early. I understand that, but let's get some enthusiasm going here. So there's that graphic, and then there's this other graphic, and this is pretty amazing from Ramos. The most consecutive games with an extra base hit to start a season. He just topped Willie Mays when you do that. That's pretty good. And he tied Felipe Alou from 1963. So I'm not saying, and we got into this term yesterday, I'm not saying that Elliot Ramos is already in the bank, and I'm fond of this term as I tell you, who's in the bank and who's a what if. And at the beginning of the season, I did not put Elliot Ramos in the bank. I said he's the first half Ramos or the second half Ramos. Well, first half Ramos would be great. He was an all-star. Second half Ramos, not so much. But through 6 games, we can say that this dude, he's athletic for his size. If he can just, you start looking at things. And I know I'm going to play something. Look, in fact, you know what? I didn't add this back after we kind of had the blow up. Oh, yes, I did. Here is, let me play this for you and then let's discuss. Here's John Paul Morosi, good friend of the show, on MLB Network, and he's talking about the Giants pitching staff. Now, this is before Landon Roop. This was after the Hicks outing in Houston. It's early, I get it, but here's John Paul Morosi, and then I'm going to talk about something.
My attention, Lauren. You consider Jordan Hicks, as Robert talked about, going back to his hometown of Houston, 6 scoreless innings, just 1 hit, and 6 strikeouts. Rare is the pitcher who in the last decade has gone into that ballpark and shut down that lineup over 6 innings with only 1 hit. Jordan Hicks has done it. Of course, they also have Logan Webb and the 2 veterans who have joined in recent months, you could call in the case of Justin Verlander, and then Robbie Ray as well with the addition last year. So I like the way this team is coming together. I know there's a lot of talent certainly in the National League West. We've talked about the Dodgers, the Padres off to a tremendous start too. But maybe, Lauren, the NL West could be like the NL East was a year ago and put 3 teams.
All right, so it's a little early for that talk. I understand that, but as I said yesterday, it's what we have to go on. And I do a show 6 days a week, so I'm not going to sit here and go, let's wait. You're going to tune in and go, dude, I don't want to hear that. Like, what do you think? He's talking now. Here's what's fun about this. He's talking about the rotation, and Roop was good, not great yesterday. Did strike out the side to start the game. I like Landon Roop. I'm not saying I don't, but I love Hayden Birdsong. And then all of a sudden Kyle Harrison's off to a decent start. And there's some minor leaguers and there's some depth in that rotation. He's talking about the rotation. Jury is still out to me on Jordan Hicks just because last year got off to a similar start and then he tired. He did gain apparently 15 pounds, so hopefully that's going to help him. Verlander, a good, not great start. Robbie Ray retired the first 15 and then kind of fell apart. So there's a little bit of a question. But if you start looking at this thing, I think they are going to pitch well. The bullpen is off to an amazing start. Other than, opening day, Ryan Walker gave up 1 run. But other than that, I mean, the bullpen's been nails. And I think they're going to continue to do that because the back of the baseball card says that's what they do. So I'm pretty confident in that. Now, let's go over to the offensive side. And somebody just said this. Let me see. I'm going to give you credit for it. I think it was Daniel, and I was up in your neck of the woods yesterday, by the way. I'm going to talk about that in a second. If the Ramos is going to be a perennial all-star, the lineup and future look a lot brighter. I couldn't agree with you more. So let's start going through the what-if thing, all right? Now, Lamont Wade Jr. off to a slow start, gets a home run. We'll see. Jury out. I don't feel great about it. You're seeing flashes from what Fitzgerald can be at second base. At the very least, he's athletic. We know about Willy Adames. In the bank is Matt Chapman as well. We know what Patrick Bailey is going to be defensively, and if he can't come around great offensively, there could be enough because you go out to left field, and if you say Ramos is in the bank, okay. Jung-Hoo Lee is off to a really nice start. I don't know if he's ever going to be a guy that's going to hit 300 or whatever, but he's got all those different things. He can get on base. He's a good defender. That's not bad. Yastrzemski is Yastrzemski. We know that. A lot of people want Matos to step forward in that piece. We'll see to see if he could do that. But what I'm saying is the offense, I think, and we haven't gone home yet, which is going to start tomorrow, and we could totally change our tune this weekend because Seattle has the best, or at least last year, had the best rotation in all of baseball, so they could shut down the Giants at home. Monday, you and I could be sitting here in this very same place going, God, this offense sucks. So, look, it's the Mariners. They're a good pitching staff, not a good hitting team. I think they're hitting like 166 on the year. But they have, last year at least, they had the best starting rotation in all of baseball, and you're in Oracle Park. So this is going to be challenging to get some runs. The Giants did score runs, as I've told you many times. Last season on the road, they were 7th home runs on the road. So they weren't a bad offensive team away from home. So let's see what they can bring. But as Morosi's saying, it looks like it might be a good staff. The bullpen looks like it's going to be good. The hitting is something, but if Ramos and Lee are something, let's just for the sake of conversation say they are, all of a sudden we know what the left side's going to be. You've got some sticks in there. All of a sudden the Giants who are under the number, and this is what you got to hope if you're Buster Posey, and I got to believe, and I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but stay with me for a second. I got to believe that Buster Posey would not have taken this job if he didn't say, okay, I get it. You gave me the money to get Willy Adames, but if we're close at the line, because they're like $25 million under the line right now, if we're close, if we're good, if we're in contention, you gotta get me a bat. And I'm thinking first base is probably the one that is going to be screaming because, again, if I think Fitzgerald's there and Adames is obviously him and Chapman is there and Bailey, I got to keep in the lineup regardless of how he's hitting. And I just said Lee could be something, and Ramos is looking like he's a bank kind of a player. All of a sudden, there's two positions. There's first base and right field. Yaz, pretty good defensively, and before yesterday, they hadn't committed an error. And if the rest of the sticks are going, I can live with Yaz in right. I know a lot of people are screaming for Ramos. And look, if Ramos hits, that's the misconception that a lot of people have. You'll force your way into the lineup. Like Ramos last year. Nobody thought about Ramos when he came up. I mean, he was off to a hot start in AAA, but it's not like the Giants are trying to keep a guy down. If in his opportunities, Matos continues to hit, and it hasn't been that he hasn't hit in spurts, it's been the long term for him. So look, if he hits so well that he offsets what maybe Mike Yastrzemski can do in the outfield defensively, he's going to play. And then you're going to bring in Yastrzemski for defense late in the game. It just depends. But Matos could be there a lot of days if he can continue to do that. Ramos did it. He forced his way in and never looked back in left field, and that might be a place that he is for a long time. So the best case scenario is that all of a sudden Matos is really, really good, and he becomes the right fielder. And then around trade deadline time, you're screaming for a first baseman, and there's guys with power. You'll be able to find a first baseman at the deadline. If that's your Achilles heel into your offense and you're looking at this thing, you're going, well, there it is, first base. So you add that to what you've got in the bullpen, you add that to what you've got in the rotation here. Got a lot of depth in this rotation. Like I said, I love Birdsong. It was not bad what Roop did yesterday, but I think it's going to be about Birdsong in that 5th spot. And not a lot of teams have, I mean, again, the Dodgers, something like that, but not, you get three really good starters. Your 4th can be and your 5th can be whatever. This team could have 5. So I know it's 5-1. I know the rest of the division is really, really good, but we've got to acknowledge at some point this. All right, let me do this Ohtani thing before I jump back out to the chat line and talk to people about this. So here's the quandary that I find. Did I add Ohtani back? I think I did. Yeah, I did. On this Ohtani thing, let me ask you this question. Do you just flat out not like him because he's a Dodger? Because like I said, I saw his first home run in Anaheim, didn't really think much of it. Thought it was kind of a neat thing. He hit it to dead center field and it was off. You know what? I just remembered. I couldn't, like if my wife asked me to bring home a loaf of bread or eggs, I'd forget it in 2 seconds. But he hit a home run to dead center field off Wade Miley in Anaheim. And my son and I were there over his spring break. And it was like, oh, cool, there's Ohtani. Never thinking that he would turn into this ridiculous player that he is. But he has turned into, and this is without him pitching so far this year, which eventually, apparently he's going to do. But of my lifetime, just the buzz around the guy. All right. I don't care what the numbers say. I'm not putting him on it. Again, not a Mount Rushmore, not a list, I'm just saying when you go into a ballpark, I've seen him enough times. I've watched him enough times on TV, and so have you, that you realize what you're watching. A unique player. I'm not calling him the best of all time like some people have done or anything. I just know this. He's really high up there. So that when you tell your kids of the generation of your sports stars, the story won't be complete unless you bring up Ohtani. So Ohtani, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Steph, Montana, Brady, maybe Mahomes, like all these different, whatever, who's ever on your list, right? Those kind of players. And Ohtani is going to be on that list in some way, shape, or form. And so what it does sometimes is it transcends your fandom, if that makes any kind of sense. So in other words, I've been in an arena, lots of arenas, NBA Finals, covered NBA Finals, where I was in Utah on Media Row watching fans in Jazz jerseys during the NBA Finals root for Michael Jordan and not even realize they were doing it because Jordan made so many plays, they just made them jump out of their seat. And then they kind of went, oh, what the hell am I doing? I've seen it with LeBron in arenas. I've seen it with Steph Curry in arenas where you want to hate the guy, but he does such miraculous things, hits such an amazing shot that your fandom forgets who you're a fan of. And they jump up and they go, oh my God. And you look at the guy next to you like, did you just see that? And then you go, oh my God, I'm a Lakers fan. What am I doing? So that's kind of Ohtani to me. Could be wrong. Everybody's different. This is one person's opinion that could be 100% wrong. But I'm going to play this for you last night. So it's almost like you knew what was going to happen, and you probably saw this, but it was 5-5, Atlanta and the Dodgers. Atlanta's winning this game, and the Dodgers look like they're going to go down to their last loss, but then it's the 9th inning, and Joe Davis is making this call. And listen to the word he uses after Ohtani hits his home run. So it's 5-5 in the 9th inning. And by the way, it was Ohtani bobblehead day. And I don't know if you saw any of the video from this because it went viral. I mean, around the block. I never will understand. Whomever came up with bobbleheads for the first time had to be thinking to themselves, this is kind of hokey, whatever. We'll just make this a promotion at a baseball game, and it'll just be like any other promotion. Bobbleheads are like, they fight for them. And I've been at plenty of bobblehead days, and I'm just like, here, you can have mine. I don't really care. But I'm sure that I haven't even looked at eBay this morning. I'm sure on eBay they're going for thousands of dollars. But anyway, so people are around the corner, just crazy, like a movie. It's 5-5. Ohtani walks up to the plate, and you know what's going to happen. So here's how it went down. So I'll take that off the screen so you don't vomit. But what I'm saying is, did you hear the word that Joe Davis used? Inevitable. Like you just felt like you were watching a movie, and you knew how it was going to end. It was Ohtani bobblehead day. He walks up to the plate, and it's 5-5 in the 9th. First pitch, Oppo Taco, no doubter. And he just goes around the bases like it's nothing. And I realize, and they're now 8-0, it's only the 8th game of the season. But he's got the it. And I know he's a Dodger, and that's why I'm asking you the question. As I watched that last night, I just thought it was really cool. And I'm not a Dodgers guy. I'm from LA. I'm not a Dodgers fan. Was never a Dodgers fan. Grew up in the Anaheim area. I was never even an Angels fan. But when you're from somewhere, you either are or you aren't. And I just was never. So I'm not saying this because I'm sitting up in the Bay Area, but I understand and realize not only greatness, just the unique nature of what he does. And he's a hard guy to hate because of who he is. And, everybody, we went through that gambling scandal and everything, whatever the case may be. But it's just kind of, he's a modern day, I don't even know what you call him, but he has all that aura. So whatever it is, he's their Steph Curry. He's LA's Steph Curry right now. And so if you look at it like that, and there's a lot of people around the country who are not Warriors fans and are sick and tired of Steph Curry ripping their heart out, but they can't help but cheer for him when he hits an ridiculous three. And that's what Ohtani is right now. He's just this guy that is just like, what he's going to do. Just like with Steph, game's on the line. He's 30 feet from the basket. He rises up. It's going bottom of the net. You just know it. And then you look to the guy next to you if you're at the game or whomever you're watching the game with, and you go, my God, what else can the guy do? And it's kind of like this guy. He's in the wrong uniform. I understand it. But he's generational. And so you're watching the game, and even though you don't want to, you go, damn. And it felt like exactly the word that Joe Davis used right there, inevitable. Like he comes up to the plate and he's hitting it out. And so I get it. I'm not a Dodgers fan. But I saw that moment last night. And I just went, my God, man, this guy. And he's fun to watch. And if you're flipping channels as much as you want to hate the Dodgers, you stop and you watch. And it's incredible what the guy is doing. So maybe you hate that I'm bringing this up. Maybe you hate that I played that. But I am interested to know your opinion, because I think we are uniquely set in this market to say everything Dodgers, automatic hate. Everything Dodger blue, automatic hate. But sometimes you look at something and you go, this just goes beyond fandom. So maybe I'm wrong here. Give me your thoughts. I mean, that was just ridiculous. That was just ridiculous. I thought the same thing, that because he just called it inevitable, and I went, yeah, that's what it felt like. It just felt like the guy's just going to be like, he's going to hit a home run right here. I mean, did anybody think he wasn't going to? My God. Let me get your thoughts here. You're probably going to hate that. I understand that, but I'm just like, my goodness. That is ridiculous. Let me see here. Oh, I got into a bobblehead conversation. Yeah, I don't know. If somebody would explain to me bobbleheads just in general, people just go bananas over them, just crazy. And the thing that's crazy, and then what do? You just set it on your desk, I guess, or you never open it. And you hope that. I don't know. Just crazy, man. See, there you go. See, this is what I think. I think that's what everybody thinks. So, and I understand that completely. Don't get me wrong. It's crazy how that works. What's up, Claude Daddy? Very nice. We have our first super of the day. And by the way, if you want your comments to get up on the board 100%, please support the show with a super. That would be outstanding. I would appreciate it. Claude Daddy Arcade says, by the way, Claude Daddy Arcade's a big time sponsor of the Krug Show, if I'm not mistaken. In fact, I think Krug told me that you were part of the crew that brought him down to spring training. So Claude Daddy Arcades, welcome, and thank you. Have a pint on us for Friday's show with Krug. Great show, Lund. Thank you, Claude Daddy Arcades, and fine sponsor of the Krug Show. And Krug and I are going to do this Friday show, Bottom of the Pint, which you did last Friday. I have to take one day off of it. And then we're going to do it the entire rest of the year because I'm going to be at opening day tomorrow. I have some business to attend to in the morning in the city. And actually, I have not been down to the city, as crazy as this sounds. I used to go to the city every single day at KNBR, and then I haven't been to the city since they unceremoniously kicked me out of the building. That was in late November. So I haven't even been down to the city. I'm boycotting it. So I'm excited to get back down to the city, back down to Oracle Park. Krug and I will do the show every other Friday other than that. But Claude Daddy Arcades, a fine sponsor of the Krug Show, and giving us our first super of the day. So Claude Daddy, thank you. And I will have a pint on you. And I think I sent this out yesterday. Claude Daddy's not kidding. Claude Daddy Arcades, not kidding, because I think I posted this receipt yesterday in Sacramento, and this is a great we'll transition to my Sacramento trip yesterday. Thank you, Claude Daddy Arcades. Much appreciated. So I go down there, and even though it's a minor league park, and it really felt like spring training is what it felt like being in that park yesterday. 2 beers, one I chugged for you people, and one I kept for my enjoyment, and then a bag of peanuts, $51.13. And these aren't they were the giant ones. It wasn't a baseball bat beer. It wasn't anything like that. It was two 16-ounce, normal 16-ounce beers in cups and one bag of peanuts, $51.13. $51.13. In fact, let me transition to this, and you can keep your Ohtani thoughts coming. But this is me yesterday giving you a report from Sacramento, and then at the end of it, I chug a beer. A little surprised that in the first day baseball game in Sacramento, history of Major League Baseball with the Chicago Cubs in town, and I would say half were Cubs fans there. So I shudder to think what the White Sox or the Diamondbacks or something like that are going to bring to the table. But there was less than 10,000, lots of room on the lawn there, and I walked the stadium. It's nice, but it feels like being in a spring training game. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I was a little surprised. I thought the place would be packed, but it had a great day. 60 degrees, warm, sunny. Energy was really good in the park, but just a little bit less than I thought. But here's my report yesterday, complete with a beer chug that I know everyone was asking for, so I felt like I just had to do that. This is from Sutter Health Ballpark in Sacramento yesterday.
As you can see, about 3/4 floor, I would say, half to 3/4. Lawn, I thought the regular better turnout on the lawn, but not bad. It's crisp, nice day. Park is clean, nice. Not a ton of A's gear, a lot more Cubs gear than A's gear. Still warming up to the A's a little bit.
I know why I know what you're expecting. I will not let you down, so I did a double hit of beers. Got my Ricky Henderson t-shirt there. Very nice Ricky Henderson t-shirt giveaway. So I hope you're working hard. This is all in the name of research, doing this, so cheers. Further check-ins from Sacramento and Cubs and A's.
Okay, and there's the Ricky t-shirt. I gave you the Ricky t-shirt yesterday. Very nice. Yeah, a little slow of a chug. I'll give you that if you're going to give me that. But yeah, I grabbed two. So those 16-ounce beers, I got two of those and a bag of peanuts for the low price of $51.13. And I did have a lot of people from Sacramento hit me up when I did that and said, "Hey, right down the street, there was a brew pub. I guess I didn't make it there." But that won't be my last trip to Sutter Health Ballpark. But and they were saying for like $51.13, I could have gotten like 6 really good craft beers and everything like that. But, it's monopoly money when it turns in there. But like I said, I didn't want to – the reason I went up there was that I didn't want to sit here and talk about Sacramento and what kind of a thing it was and what – because I've been to just about every ballpark in Major League Baseball. I did one of those summer, road trips when I was younger to – all the ballparks, lived in different parts of the country. So I've been to about every ballpark. So I felt like, I got to go up there and see what it's like. And no rip whatsoever. Beautiful day, 60 degrees. You could see where my seats were, very close. By the way, I paid $39 for those tickets. And it was like 4th row, right behind, like to the right of the Cubs dugout. Lots of Cubs gear. Definitely didn't have the feel of an A's game. I don't know what to make of it because it's the Cubs. So they were going to be a lot of Cubs fans, even if that game was in Oakland. But a really clean stadium, really nice. Felt like a spring training game. Been to tons of spring training games. That was kind of the feel of it for me, was that it was a spring training game. You missed that next level, that next layer of seats that were up there. But I can tell you this, if you're going to go up and see a ball game, and like I said, for me, I left my house because I got onto the field and talked to some people and everything like that, and then went to my seat. So I had to pass and walked around and talked to people and everything like that. And where I was sitting and all that, but very clean ballpark, lots of Cubs gear. Probably half the fans are Cubs fans, I would say. Now I was on the Cubs side, so who knows? But I was walking around, a lot less A's gear than you would normally see. I think there's confusion only because, look, the Giants affiliate is in Sacramento. So I think and my friends from Sacramento can help me here. I think it's a Giants town. I don't know. There was plenty of A's gear. I would have thought, I just don't know, that if I'm in Sacramento, I'm thinking, I'm not sure they're going to make it to Las Vegas. So I really want to show out and pack every game. It was a beautiful day. I'm sure that when the kids get out, there's going to be lots of other, the place is probably going to, I know that Cubs fan. That's pretty funny. I know that they're going to pack it up a little bit more. I was a little surprised. There was a ton of room on the lawn. But in terms of, going in, parking, the ease of things, I mean, it was incredibly easy. I'm not complaining about it because I don't care. Like if there's not 50,000 people at the game, that just means that it's easier in and out, which it was incredibly easy to get in and out. It's West Sacramento. It's right by the freeway. For a day, I enjoyed myself, and it won't be the last time I go up there. Now, do I feel bad for the people of Oakland? Yeah. Does it feel weird that they're sitting in a minor league ballpark and I'm not sure if they're ever going to make it to Vegas? Sure. But those kind of politics, I didn't really think of. Obviously, I don't like John Fisher and what he's done to the organization, and this is a proud organization. For them to be playing in a minor league ballpark is not ideal. But the way that I was looking at it yesterday was purely as a fan. What would I think of walking into this place and watching a baseball game? And I felt like it was kind of a treat that if every ballpark was like this was weird. It definitely felt weird. I mean, here are the Chicago Cubs. One of the the franchises in all of sports are coming into this park. I feel really good. I put out a video of this. I feel really good about my Brent Rooker at plus 2,500 to lead the American League in home runs. It's only 60 degrees and the ball just flies right out of there. I mean, just flies out of there. Seiya Suzuki hit 2 yesterday, and both balls, I was like, those aren't going. Oh, never mind. Those are out. Rooker, and then let alone, and I was warm yesterday, and I hate cold. I was a little bit warm yesterday, just wearing a hoodie and sitting out in the sun, and it was probably 60 degrees. When it's 100 degrees there, every fly ball is going to fly out of that place. Just crazy. So that's just that's just my thoughts of the whole thing. In one sense, it felt really, really weird to be there because it's the A's playing in a minor league park, and it's no knock on Sacramento. It's just, it is what it is. And in another sense, I thought, well, this is just kind of like spring training game, and people in Sacramento are kind of getting a treat out of this whole thing. And I was surprised that it was, it's a day game. I was a little bit surprised that I think they said that the attendance is a little less than 9,000. What does the place hold with the lawn? Isn't it like 13 or 14,000, something like that with the lawn? So I just wanted to go up there and be able to experience it for myself and kind of see what was going on up there between the Cubs and the A's. I do know this, that when teams like the Yankees or the Mets or the Red Sox, the Cubs, obviously, the teams that travel really, really well, the Giants, they'll just dominate that stadium because the one thing in the first swoop that I went through and walking around it is don't get me wrong, there's A's fans there, but there's a lot of people that are just kind of like checking it out and everything. And it's not like an A's Oakland crowd. And it's kind of like when I went to Vegas for the first time to see the Niners play the Raiders, it's not even close to the same feel. When you went to Oakland, it was a Raiders game. It was Raiders fans. It was Raider tailgates. It was all those kind of things. When you went to Vegas, it was a place to be seen. Now, I'm not saying it was that way in Sacramento yesterday because it wasn't, but it just, my point is that it just has a major, major different feel. Oakland is very unique in terms of Raiders, A's. You go to a game like that, there's a lot of, obviously, Oakland love, and it's just different. I'm not saying better, worse, or indifferent. I'm just saying it's just different. It's different in Vegas. It's different in Sacramento. But like I said, the overall feel for the whole thing is, in one sense, if I'm going to that thing, it's like, yeah, this is kind of cool. But the other side of it is, to me, is that it's definitely like a spring training game. I've been to tons of spring training games, and that's just how it felt. People sitting on the lawn, a lot of fans for the other teams. Like, just because when you go to spring training games, because everything is so condensed and you can go, all these different fan bases can go to different games, you'll get a big mix of fans. I mean, I saw a lot of Dodger gear at the game yesterday. I saw a lot of people just wearing stuff, Ellie Dela Cruz. I saw a couple of those jerseys. Like, it was just kind of like spring training in that you'll get different fan bases to go to a game just because. So that's just kind of what it was. So that was my sense of it. Would I go again? Yeah. It was an hour. Like I said, I left my house. What did I say? Like 10? I think I left my house at about 10. Got off the show yesterday just after 9. Did a little post-production work. Left here at 10. Got up there at about, by the time I parked and everything, was about 11:30. And then I left the game in about the 7th inning to try to beat the rush. It was just after 3 o'clock, so I didn't want to hit because I knew I was coming back to the Bay and would hit some traffic. But I mean, I'm thinking like an hour 15, hour 20 each way, which wasn't bad. Because for me to go to a Giants game like tomorrow with parking and everything else, it'll take me just over an hour to get to San Francisco. So it's not much different going up to Sacramento. And I don't know how A's fans feel. Like, you're not the Oakland A's, to hell with you. I've told you this before. My son's an A's fan, Raiders fan. He doesn't care where they go. I mean, he wishes they were in Oakland, but he's an A's fan. He's a Raiders fan. He's going to go to all the games. So he's going to stay a fan. So anyway, by the way, Mike brings this up, and I'm going to go totally off the board here really quickly. Hi, Mike. I don't drink the Kool-Aid. Is anybody watching? I just watched the first episode of it last night because I was listening to Howard Stern on XM, and he had Seth Rogen on. Is anybody watching The Studio? Because if you're not watching The Studio, I just watched the first episode last night, and I'm not going to give it away. Hilarious. Well worth it. Like whatever you're watching right now, and I'm sure it's hard to kind of shoehorn something in, like a new show. Watched one episode of The Studio last night. Out friggin' standing. In fact, all I'm going to say about it is if you have seen it, Martin Scorsese's in it, and unreal. He's an actor in it, and Seth Rogen was talking about on Stern how, he's been directed by Scorsese. Scorsese's one of the best directors out there, and then he's directing Scorsese as an actor, and how weird that was. And anyway, The Studio is what it's called. It's on Apple. I know that's another subscription, and they're not giving me a dime. I'm just simply saying that I got home last night, did a little work on the show, rewatched the Giants game because that was in the afternoon, watched them sweep Houston when I came back from Sacramento, spend the time with the wife because I don't want to get divorced. And we watched a couple of shows, but I had heard it on Stern driving home and heard the interview, and he was talking about this new show. And I was like, I'm a big Seth Rogen fan. So I go and I watched the first episode, and it was awesome. It was great. So I'm not going to try to oversell it. I'm just saying that it was a good show. So give it a shot. I've only seen the first episode, and I thought it was great. So just letting you know. Maybe you can shoehorn that into your stuff. Maybe you can't. Great show, and I give Apple $0 F them. Yeah, it's a great show, and I don't want to make you have to go to Apple and spend more money, but I'm just saying it was pretty. The first episode was pretty damn good. Hello, SGA Sports Channel. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Got some great stories on Chug Beers on Bart, John. Both going to San Francisco and Oakland because, I'd go to A's games all the time, and that's what people would do it. The one thing about Bart, the greatest day I've ever seen on Bart, and you guys probably know this, was I don't know which parade it was. I think it might have been 2012 Giants parade. And I get on there, and I got to go to work anyway, right? And 2012, I was on 95.7 The Game. And Papa and I are doing middays, and I think we were doing 12 to 3, but then the parade was going on. So I think I got on Bart at maybe like 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to be downtown in the city early. And we could walk from our offices, which were on 3rd and Howard, over to Market Street. And so we wanted to go in there early and get the work done. And then we didn't start till noon, but I think the parade started at like 10. So it was like 2 blocks up to walk to the Giants parade. So point is that I get on Bart at like 7 o'clock or 6:30. And normally, 6:30, fairly busy, but not crazy. Bart is like sardine can Bart. And you're like this, but there was people just chugging beers. There was a Jack Daniels bottle going around. And this is, pre-pandemic, right? Like we wouldn't do that now. Maybe we would. But this Jack Daniels, and I'm not talking about a regular fifth of Jack Daniels. I'm talking about the giant bottle of Jack Daniels. The giant bottle of Jack Daniels somebody had brought onto Bart and was just passing, and like total strangers, but they're all wearing like Giants hats and everything else, are taking the bottle and just like, here, it's easier to do like this. By the way, one of my favorite bottles of whiskey that I have not opened yet. I just bought this. I just got this. Amazing. I've had this before though, but everybody's on Bart like this. Next guy. Next guy. Like they're just taking pulls off this one after the other. And I'm looking around because I got to do a show. So I wasn't doing it again, pre-pandemic, but people, just total strangers, just that. Yeah. And it's not a half gallon. It's even bigger than that. I think it's like a gallon or even might have been a 2 gallon, like a giant bottle of Jack Daniels that somebody had brought on Bart and just passing it along with people. And anybody who had they're going to the parade. They're going to the championship parade. Insane. That's the craziest day I've ever seen on Bart. And you're just sitting there going, wow. And, to say that it's the craziest day on Bart, that's saying something. I've sat across from people on Bart smoking crack and just looking at me like, what are you staring at? I'm smoking some crack here. Could you give me a little space? I'm just looking at the dude going, really? I mean, man, it just looks over at me like, what? Like, I'm smoking some crack here. Leave me alone. I'm just like, okay, right on. Yeah, studio is amazing. Like, studio is just, like, the first episode. I don't want to give it away. The first episode is crazy. What they do at the end. They to Scorsese at the end. Unbelievable. It's just classic. Yeah, I mean, we could sit here all day long, Tacky. We could tell Bart stories. Unbelievable Bart stories. Like, just absolutely crazy. Let's see. Oh my goodness. If you have one, please share it with me. All right. Let's see what else do we have. All right, let's go over the chalkboard, shall we? Haven't done it in a while. Warriors at Lakers. Warriors at Lakers tonight. Can the Dubs get to number 4? I've already told you where they're going to be. So if you missed the show, either go back or I'm going to post the chapters after the show. So to do that, just go to johnlundunleashed.com on YouTube, and please make sure you subscribe, which is huge. Please like, and make sure that you have your alerts on. Giants sweep over the Astros, home opener against the Mariners. We will learn a lot about the offense because the Mariners last year had the best pitching staff, starting staff in all of baseball. So can the offense still score runs? Early or excited? That's my question for you as a Giants fan. Is it too early and you're like, or you're just excited and you say, to hell with it, man? My trip to Sacramento, I gave you that. Ohtani, how do you feel about that last night? Inevitable, as Joe Davis said. I just felt inevitable when he came to the plate. Or do you just flat out hate? So that's where we are. We have done all of that to this point, an hour 30 into the show. Let me make sure, because I had some other things. Let me make sure before I get into Kyle's appearance in this conversation that I haven't missed anything to this point. Got that, did that. Anything on the videos that I need to run before I get to this Kyle thing? Nope, did that. All right. So you and I have had this conversation before. I've shown before the picture of the interview that Tom Tolbert and I did with Kyle Shanahan on his first day, and he's in this nice, beautiful, like blue pinstripe suit, black hair coming off the Atlanta loss in the Super Bowl, no facial hair, certainly no gray facial hair, looks very, very young. And so this was going around yesterday, and then everybody did the side-by-side of when Kyle was hired, his opening day press conference versus what he looks like right now. So I hadn't seen this video ever. So this is 2017 when Kyle is hired. Somebody posted this yesterday, a young Kyle Shanahan, and this was pre-press conference, but so this is 8 years ago, right? 8 years ago for Kyle Shanahan, and he's excited to be the head coach of the 49ers.
Here with my wife and I, we just flew in from Atlanta. So excited to be here, you guys. I lived here throughout middle school, was part of a Niners organization just as a ball boy. Won some Super Bowls back then, and can't wait to get started again. Just give us some time, be patient with us. I promise you guys, we're going to work as hard as anyone and do things the right way with good people, high character guys, and it's going to be a lot of work, tough work, but I promise you guys it'll be worth it. And we'll do this the right way and make you guys proud, and we'll not let you guys down. Look forward to talking to you all.
Hey, so there's young Kyle Shanahan, right? And so somebody posted that went viral. It's gone viral because essentially what somebody did is they posted a side-by-side with Kyle. Then somebody posted a side-by-side of Sean McVay, who looks pretty much the same. And people are trying to make the tie-in that, well, McVay won a Super Bowl, so he's not as stressed as Kyle. But this is what happens to you. So Kyle's all fresh-faced there, and we're going to root really hard, which clearly they have, because he slept in the office. He slept on a cot. He's hardly ever home. So as you're going to see here, on the left will be Kyle on his first day and his first press conference. On the right will be Kyle earlier this week at the NFL meetings in Miami, and this has gone viral. So there you go. He still looks damn good. He is kind of getting his dad's lobster face, which really concerns me. He needs to make sure that he sees a dermatologist, because there he is with no growth, very young. Hair is all black. You can see a tiny bit of grays at the sides there because, again, he'd been an offensive coordinator at that point for a long time, but he doesn't have the stress or the wrinkles of a head coach. And then you see him. And, again, it's not completely fair because the night before, I'm just going to say, on the one on the right, knowing Kyle a little bit and the stories of Kyle, he probably had some Tito's and sodas, Tito's and Red Bulls. That's very early in the morning in Miami. He's a West Coast guy on the East Coast in Miami. So maybe it's a little early for him. I bet that's 9 o'clock. I think he talked about 9 o'clock Miami time, 9 East. That's 6 West. So he hasn't completely adjusted to being on the East Coast, but still. And then they caught him in kind of a moment where maybe he's listening to a question. Like, he's not sad, but that, somebody snapped the picture when he looked like he was sad. But clearly, a little bit of gray, couple of wrinkles on the forehead, could maybe use a little Botox, a lot of tiredness under the eyes. Again, I think that is probably, due to Miami versus San Francisco time. I'm trying to make excuses for the guy, but he still looks pretty good. I mean, most of us would say to ourselves, hey, I'd take that. There's obviously some salt and pepper in there where it used to be mostly jet black. That's the Kyle I remember seeing on day one when Tom and I had interviewed him. I guess I said that was a blue striped suit. It looks like a gray striped suit or black, maybe a dark gray on the left side when he was young Kyle Shanahan. But yeah, I don't know that he would look much different had he won a Super Bowl or not. The one thing you could say is, remember how he said he was going to work hard? Clearly they've worked hard. Clearly they have slept on cots many, many nights in the in the facility there. And so there's Kyle on the right, which, look, like I said, I think he looks like a distinguished gentleman, clearly. And here's the other thing. It's been 8 years. I mean, if I look at a picture of myself 8 years ago versus now, yeah, it's not as good. It's, it's certain you get to a certain age. And by the way, he's 45. We were debating that. I think Damon and I yesterday, a couple of days ago, were talking about that. He's 45. I mean, for 45, I think he looks pretty good. I mean, it's a demanding job. There's no question. But I mean, any CEO of any corporation, 45, that probably is what you look like. I mean, I don't think he looks bad. I just think that, he looks pretty fresh faced there when he was the, 2017. That's his introductory press conference there. There's quite a bit of difference. But anyway, that went viral yesterday. Don't know that it was entirely fair because that's kind of a sad face. I do have another face. Like, that doesn't look as bad, right? Because I think they caught him right at the right moment. Like, he looks sad and all this kind of stuff. The wrinkles aren't as there much, but yeah, under the eyes, you might want to see Dr. Riopel on that kind of stuff. He could fix that forehead. Dr. Riopel could 100% fix those bags under the eyes. I mean, if he would go see my guy, Dr. Riopel, he would 100% look more like the guy on the left than the guy on the right. I mean, it's absolutely doable. It's, still a good looking guy. By the way, speaking of Dr. Riopel right there, that was a perfect transition. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. That is the fine sponsor of the program. And as I often say, and the other thing he probably has is low T because he's 45. It starts hitting about that point at low T. I have low T, but not anymore because I took the quick blood test. I went to Dr. Riopel, go in there every 3 or 4 months, boom, hits me up, and I feel 100%. See, look at me. I don't look like I'm older than Kyle Shanahan. I have much more pep in my step. So if you would see Dr. Riopel and do the low T as I do with Dr. Riopel, plus my wife, of course, does the stem cell, and she's actually going in today. But she said her shoulder feels 90%, her elbow feels about 70%. She said her feet feel absolutely awesome. So if you go see Dr. Riopel, and I tell you this all the time, he did it for Bartolo Colon back in the day. All that did was extend his career. So all you got to do is hit up Dr. Riopel right there. You make an appointment. Kyle Shanahan, this is for you. And all you got to do is hit that QR code right there, and you will be on the website. And whether it is pain for your for yourself, and like I said, you got to talk to Dr. Riopel about all sorts of pain. But my wife, shoulder, elbow, foot, he can help you out with all the stem cell. He is one of the first in California to do it. He's absolutely great. Or if you're dealing with low T and you have that sad face like Kyle Shanahan does right there, that is your perfect example of a guy who maybe has a little low T, maybe needs a little help on the forehead, a little Botox hit right there, maybe some filler underneath the eyes. Dr. Riopel is the guy to go see. Check it out. Riopel Cosmetic Surgery and Laser Center. Hit that QR code right there. Takes you right to the website. You can see everything that they can do for you. 3, 2, 1. All right, there you go. There's Kyle. Is that fair? I mean, look, that doesn't look as bad. Like, it was just like, let's get the saddest look we can get on Kyle. Oh, sad Kyle. And then you go to that one and you go, that's not nearly as bad. He's just talking. Hair slicked back early in the morning, East Coast time versus and on a West Coast guy. I think they took advantage of him a little bit on that whole thing. I think a lot of people that are 45 years old would trade places with Kyle Shanahan in about 1 second. I'm just saying. This is an interesting point. Let me say this. Kyle does not look like a guy that's going to be coaching the Niners in 5 years. He's a lifer. So I don't know if he's not going to be coaching the Niners in 5 years or just coaching in general. Ooh, that's a good call right there, Dom. Little Daniel Day-Lewis vibes. I'd say that. Daniel Day-Lewis, like right in the middle of the height of his career, just went, I'm done acting. Like, what? And then he came back. But yeah, he was like, see ya, let's see here. How was it yesterday? Oh, did you just jump in here? Like I said, I enjoyed going up to Sacramento. I've said it again and again. It just depends on your angle on the whole thing. If you're an A's fan and you're in Oakland, I could see you being pissed off. If you're in Sacramento, I would go 100%. It felt like it was a spring training game. That's exactly, and I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm just telling you that's what it felt like. There's a lawn. They're lacking the extra deck, but in and out was really easy. Super clean stadium. Beer was cold. Prices were high. Walked the stadium in a very quick fashion. Got a third, like I said, I was on the field beforehand, but then got a third row seat because I wanted to sit in the stands. I didn't want to sit in the media area because that doesn't give me a feel for the game. I wanted to sit where the fans were sitting. Had plenty of space on either side of me. Did not have anybody sitting next to me on either side. Was in the third row, and it cost me $39. 2 16-ounce beers and a peanut cost me $51, and parking was $30. So they had major league prices. That's all. But no, I enjoy. Like I said, I wanted to go up there because I didn't want to keep talking about this stadium that I had never been to. I just thought that was ridiculous. I was like, I'm going to keep talking about this stadium. And it was a day game. I enjoyed day games. It was an hour 15 door to door from the East Bay. It was really not bad at all. So, wow, that's painful. Very, very painful. Very, very painful. Let's see. Yeah, can somebody's got to fix that up, man. They got him bad. See, that's what I mean. There's Mary. There's a good. See, he looks fine. He does. He's a good looking guy, man. He's a good looking guy. I mean, at 45. I'm not 45, and he looks better than me. You think he looks 66, the 1/420? I think he looks pretty good for 45. Let me revisit this real quick because I love that people are giving this opinion of him. Look, he doesn't look like he did when he got here in 2017, but also whomever took that picture just went, oh, let's get him at a sad point because, I mean, he looks better there. I mean, you can tell he looks better there. It's just that for comp purposes, and I understand why they're manipulating this thing. But it's like, sad Kyle just lost the Super Bowl. Look at how sad he is. I mean, I get what you're doing. I understand why they're doing it. But that thing just went viral yesterday. It went crazy. Everybody was talking about it. It must be a slow time for the Niners, but he looks 53-ish. Wow. I didn't think so. No, the nuts were not hot. They were just your regular nuts. They were by the way, they took the hot nuts out of San Francisco, too. They used to have those nuts, same company, but instead of a green bag at the ballpark, it was an orange bag, and they were called hot nuts. And we played hot nuts. In fact, I even brought hot nuts over. I got to bring that over here. But it was really good. Yeah, I did not go afterwards, Dom. I did not go to the media shack afterwards. I was there earlier. Selling nuts, hot nuts. I've got nuts for sale. I got to bring that back. I don't know that the nuts were the expensive part. This is a great question by Mario. When does Kyle's seat get warmer, or is it already warm heading into the season? It's not warm. And I got a different angle than everybody else on this whole thing about Kyle's seat and how warm it is. I believe that Kyle is going to leave the 49ers before the 49ers leave Kyle. In other words, I think Kyle's going to say, look, I don't think we're dedicated to winning. I've been here long enough. Let's see if we both need a change of scenery. I think that if there is going to be a change at any point, and I don't think it's going to be next year, I think if there's going to be a change at any point, it's going to be a mutual thing. And I know that's very odd and unusual. But what I mean by that is I talked about this story the other day. I was covering the Portland Trailblazers, 22 years ago, maybe. And it was this great Blazers team. Like I said, it was Damon Stoudemire and Bonzi Wells and Rasheed Wallace and Jermaine O'Neal and Scottie Pippen and Steve Smith and all these different guys. And I was a beat writer for the Portland Trailblazers and did a radio show there as well. And we show up at practice. And Mike Dunleavy's standing there for his normal thing. We're at the Blazers practice facility, and we go around him, and we were there a little bit earlier, and a good friend of mine was good friends with Mike Dunleavy, who was a beat writer, and Mike took him aside and said, hey, they're going to let me go today. And so his name was Kenny, and Kenny comes back to me and says, hey, man, they're firing Dunleavy. And so before the media throng had kind of come around to that, Dunleavy had just kind of told the gathered, maybe 3 or 4 that were there, look, I know why they're doing this. they've heard every speech. I've given them every single speech I have in my bag. I've given them the, one for the Gipper, this one, that one. They make them feel bad, make them feel good, he goes like, I got 100 speeches in my bag. And I've given them every single speech, and they've heard it all, and they're starting to tune me out. And he had been there, I don't think quite 10 years, but he had been there quite a long time. And he said, it's just kind of time for a change. And so to me, I don't think he's on a hot seat at all. I think they're all on the same page. I think that Jed York really wants to be of the school of Pittsburgh Steelers, that kind of stuff, where it's like, it goes from Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin, and just because you have a bad season, and from Chuck Noll and all that kind of stuff. And he wants continuity, which I think is really, really smart, especially after they went from Jimmy Tomsula to Chip Kelly. And, they're just really, really quick. It went Harbaugh, Tomsula, Kelly, then Kyle. And they're like, Jesus, let's stop doing this. It's not good. Let's have continuity. Let's get, and this is part of the problem in the NFL. If you don't turn it around, you can have a total shit team. And if you don't turn it around in like 2 years, or in the case of like a Gerard Mayo 1 year, well, how can you do that? Because you haven't, okay, this is the kind of player I want. All right, let me go through 2 or 3 or 4 draft cycles, and you've already fired me. Everybody has kind of a vision in their head. What kind of linebacker are you looking for? That quick, speedy one, or the guy who's going to fill the hole? Or how do you want your offensive line? You want quick, fast guys? You want bigger monster guys? You're going to play power football? Do you want, what do you value in your players? Do you want those bigger receivers? Do you want those quicker, faster receivers? Do you want, what do you want? And you want a power run game? Do you want more of a zone scheme? All these different things. So when you bring in a coach, more than any other sport, philosophically in football, you've got to have the type of players that are going to fit your system. So if you fire me after 2 or 3 years, which I get it, you're frustrated, but you gave me a garbage team to start with. And now I finally bring in my players, and now you fire me. And now another guy comes in, and there's no continuity, and he wants a different kind of a player. Then you're constantly cycling, and people wonder why your team stinks. And now Kyle Shanahan, remember when he first came in, the team stunk. Everybody loves Robert Saleh now. Well, when Robert Saleh was here in 2018, and they had the worst defense in the league, nobody was saying how great he was then, but they got the kind of players they wanted. They implemented those players. All of a sudden, the team becomes really good. And so, but my point back to Mike Dunleavy is after, 8 or 10 years, and you have those veterans on this team, and a lot is turned over, there's no question, but still, from the first Super Bowl team, Warner's here, Kittle's here, Bosa's here, there's still a lot of guys, and they've heard those same speeches. So it's not that Kyle Shanahan isn't a great coach. A lot of people have comped him to Andy Reid. At some point, now he's into his 8th year, as we just showed, and we're kind of laughing about it. But since you asked the question, which is a really good question, Mario, 10 years is probably the line. Even like Harbaugh, for example. Harbaugh's a 4 or 5 year coach. Who's got it better than us? I've told you this story before. Both Joe Staley and Patrick Willis have personally told me, and this is not a secret, they've said it publicly too, that after a while, it's like, man, the gas station shirts with the names on them, and the who's got it better than us, and all that kind of stuff, like that works in college because you're constantly cycling players in and out. And so after a while, they haven't heard those speeches. That's why college coaches can stay for 30 years. In basketball, football, whatever the case may be, they can stay forever. Tom Izzo's been at Michigan State forever because those players haven't heard that speech, and they're going to laugh at all the dad jokes, and they're going to, after a while, it's like, man, I've heard it. It's hard to motivate guys year in and year in and year in and year out. And so like a guy like Steve Kerr, who's hung on for, it's great what he's been able to do with this group, but he'll be gone after that, because you're not cycling guys in and out. They've heard it. The motivation is hard when it's like, I know, I've heard it, I know. So if Kyle Shanahan wins the Super Bowl, then maybe he's done here. But I think, 10 years is normally the number. And like I said, I remember Mike Dunleavy saying that, like, they've heard it all. They've heard every speech. It's not that he wasn't a good coach for the Blazers. It's just they needed to bring in a new coach because all these guys were like, yeah. I know what speech. I can finish the speech for you. So stop. I've already heard it, man. I get it. And so that might be the case. Not that, and I've said this before again and again and again, by the time he hangs up the phone, he's going to have a new job because people are going to love what Kyle Shanahan brings to the table. What is tired to you is he can't win a Super Bowl. It's like, he got you to a Super Bowl? Like, when they're healthy, and people forget this about Kyle Shanahan. All right, the first few years, they sucked, but ever since he has built this team into what it is, 2019 Super Bowl. Next year, injuries, out of the playoffs, bombing. 21, it'd be nice if Jaquiski Tart could have caught that ball. 22, you get hurt. Brock Purdy gets hurt in the NFC Championship game. But in 21, you went to the NFC Championship game, lost to the Rams. In 22, you lose to the Eagles. In 23, you go to the Super Bowl. Last year, injuries. So what has it been for the 49ers? I mean, we're getting to the point as a fan base is we're kind of spoiled, to be honest with you. They're kind of with the Warriors. Like, anytime Steph Curry's on the court, if you're not going to the finals, failed year. With the 49ers, you don't go to the Super Bowl, and at this point, it's win it or your season sucked. But it's injury, it's Super Bowl injury year. NFC Championship game, catch that pass. You're in the Super Bowl playing the Bengals, not the Chiefs. Brock Purdy gets hurt in the NFC Championship game right away. You're done. You go to the Super Bowl. Next year, you get hurt, and everybody says you suck, and you're rebuilding. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me with the last place schedule if they were back in the NFC Championship game again. I mean, look, they got to have a hell of a draft. Don't get me wrong. But when Kyle Shanahan's teams are healthy, they go to the NFC Championship game and Super Bowl. So I think that it's kind of overblown the fact that, okay, he hasn't won that Super Bowl. Tell me a team that wouldn't take him. That's all I'm saying. But it could be, like I said, to go back to your original question, and a really long way to answer it is that he may leave before they fire him because he's thinking to himself, look, I've been here 10 years. And Fred Warner and Nick Bosa and George Kittle and even Trent Williams and some of these guys who've been around for a long time around here, I've heard every speech I got. So anyway, there you go. Let's see. Is this true? Is this true? I guess they have a secondary football league now, right? Did Tom Sula win something like that? I thought I heard something like that, but I can't even remember. What is this one? That's the stupidest reasoning. Oh, I thought you were talking about me. Because I could totally deal with that. You have no idea what I know. Kyle had a shot. Look, Kyle's a good coach. Whenever anybody says about it, and again, everybody can disagree with me. And, I've said this before, and I 100% stand behind this. Last year, Kyle Shanahan, lots of injuries, but he wasn't very good. Wasn't very good. If he's a personnel guy, there were some decisions that were absolutely questionable. I do think that now bringing in an offensive coordinator, and I hope he trusts him in Clay Kubiak. I think I said this in the offseason. Need a new defensive coordinator. They did it. Needed to fire his special teams coordinator in the middle of last year, not at the end, but he did do it at the end. And bring in an offensive coordinator that you can bounce things off that you trust. And I don't know how much he trusts Clay Kubiak. I don't know if Clay Kubiak is just there to be a guy or if he's there because the last time the offense was really, really good, Mike McDaniel was here. And what I'd like to see is somebody who says, look, Kyle, I get it, but what about this? He's an old school guy. I mean, he's cool and he's hip and he's modern and everything like that, but he is rooted in old school, which means we're not going for it on fourth down. We're not, if you want to talk about some of his play calling or being too conservative in the Super Bowl, I'm with you. Like, I'm not saying he's perfect. What I'm saying is he's a really, really good coach, but every coach has an expiration label on it. I'm not saying that he should be fired because that's overly simplistic and it is done and it's low-hanging fruit and all those kind of things when people just say he should be fired or is he on the hot seat. I'm not saying he shouldn't be, but I'm saying that I do think that it's going to be one of those situations where maybe he needs to go somewhere else just for the sake of that because everybody's heard the speech, if that makes any kind of sense. So good conversation, good question. All right, what else do we have today? Anything else that we have missed? Again, Golden State at the Warriors at Lakers. Can they get to 4? Schedule game we play. JK deal, I'm not giving him a max. Giants sweep, I don't care that it's early in the season. You got to go on based on what you've seen, and I would say that I'm excited versus early. Trip to Sacramento, I told you that, and I even played the video for you. Otani, can you enjoy what Otani is doing even though he's wearing Dodger blue? Kyle's appearance, random, which we always get into. Sweet, clean, family-friendly caboose pistol. I have something for you that's really good. Let me see here. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. That's a fair assessment. I won't call Kyle great till he wins a Super Bowl. That's fair. That's a fair assessment. That's what you are judged on in this league. And his dad was very, very similar until Mike Shanahan won a Super Bowl. Everybody was like, really, really good, really, really good, really, really good, but didn't win a Super Bowl. So, if that's your viewpoint, I totally understand that. I'm sorry that I have not written a new sweet, clean, family-friendly caboose pistol open. I need to do that because, like I said, it's got Spirit in the Sky on it, and every time I play it, I get tagged by YouTube, so I can't play that, but I will. I'm going to put that on my list for today because I love the Open. I can't play it because it's got that bed underneath it, and they get all mad at me. So here's our sweet, clean, family-friendly caboose pistol. As you see at the bottom of the chalkboard there's a caboose. I'm not going to, I don't know if you saw this story. This is out of Houston, and it's about a vanity plate. And I'm going to play this for you, and I'm going to stop it, and then you tell me if you know what this license plate says, because they're making this guy take this license plate off of his car. And by first look, you're like, why? And then you start thinking about it and you go, oh, so you tell me, pop it on the screen when you know why this plate is offensive. All right, here we go.
Lamborghini, so it already gets a lot of looks from other drivers. But if the state of Texas is correct, it's also turning heads because of the license plate on the car. The DMV says the plate is offensive. The owner disagrees. You be the judge. Joel Eisenbaum has the story only on 2 tonight.
About the Houston plates?
High rollers love them, and so do others. In fact, there are more than 120,000 personalized license plates in Texas. Safir Hassan, for the last 3+ years, has had one on his Lamborghini.
370H55V as in Victor.
The problem is the state says this puzzling alphanumeric jumble is no longer acceptable. They told them by letter, quote, it has been determined that the personalization is offensive. The DMV has hummed this tune before. The standard for revocation?
Would it invoke a response from other drivers that may be driving past that vehicle?
Hassan argues his plate doesn't meet that standard.
I definitely think the state is overreaching their boundaries.
I mean, you still haven't figured out why this plate could be considered offensive, have you? How about when we flip it over? You're now looking at a blurred out cuss word, and it took the state's...
Okay, let me just stop it for just a second. Now you can see it, right? I mean, it took a second. Like when I first saw that, I went 370H55V. How is that offensive? But then you flip it upside down and you know exactly what it says. I'll let him finish.
Some time to reach the conclusion, but apparently they don't think.
All right, so there it is right there. I didn't have to really stop that, but it's asshole upside down. But if you were driving by that, because the one guy said, well, if it would be offensive, I guess if you were sitting behind it, but like, would your kids pick up on that? And by the way, I love how this Channel 2 in Houston's like, and you'll only see this on Channel 2. It's like, why aren't people watching? Oh, this is your big news story. This is exclusive to Channel 2. So I look at this whole thing, and it's asshole upside down. I understand that, but I guess if you were sitting behind the car and you had a minute to study, but do you think your kid would pick up on that? Like if you were sitting behind that thing, would your kid pick up on 370H55V is asshole? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I kind of think it's funny. I probably wouldn't do it, and I'm as sophomoric as they come. I probably would not do that. Not because I wouldn't. I just, it's like, whatever. Like I'm not going to make that my personalized plate. But anyway, I think it's funny. I'm surprised that Texas thinks that's offensive or that someone would pick up on it. Like, you're not going to pick up on that just driving by. You might pick up on it if you're like sitting behind it for a minute at a red light, but not so much so because, like, if I'm a person sitting behind it, I'm an adult, whatever. If you want to be sophomoric and put asshole on upside down on your license plate, I don't care. I'm surprised I haven't done it, but my kid, I don't know. Is your teenager going to pick up on it? And even if they do, it's like, whatever. Like someone, you're going to take the time out of your day. Hello, Texas DMV. There's this license plate that I find highly offensive. Like, I don't know. Am I really going to take that and do that? No, I'm not. So anyway, there you go. Not bad. I would agree with you 100%, Jazz fan. Texas is whack, but they got great barbecue. I was working in Arlington, Texas, which is where Jerry World is. And literally we watched the thing be built. And it was across from like a Great America, kind of like they have at Niner Stadium. It was I worked right across the street from that. And there was a barbecue joint that seriously, if you drove by it, you'd be like, that place is full of cockroaches and there's no way I'm going in and you got to be crazy. And you walk into that place and it was the best barbecue. Like that was just all over the place. Like incredible. I gained so much weight living in Texas just because that's what people would do. Like people in Texas, in the Dallas area, would think nothing because I get lunch. I don't know about you, but like I'll eat a decent sized dinner. I'm probably a lot like a lot of people, probably too busy for breakfast. I'll knock down a little bit of coffee, maybe a little bit of fruit or something like that, whatever. Not a huge breakfast. I love breakfast on the weekends, like brunches and things like that. sign me up. Love it. But during the week, Monday through Friday, I'm not much of a breakfast guy. Don't go out to breakfast a whole lot. Don't eat a ton of breakfast. Lunch, a little bit light, and then dinner. Yeah, because if you eat a big lunch, you're just like you're knocked out at your desk. But one of the adjustments I had to make in going to Dallas was people at lunch would mow food. Like it was a massive meal, and then their dinners were a little bit smaller. So we would go out, and these barbecue joints were all over the place near where I worked. And like I said, I just wasn't a big lunch guy. And so we would go out because I was running the radio station too. So I would go out on sales calls and different things and different meetings and things like that. And you'd go out on these calls and you'd meet people at these restaurants, but especially like a barbecue joint, just because, like I said, there were so many great hole-in-the-wall barbecue joints by where I worked near Dallas. And people would think nothing of like, I'll do that half rack of ribs and give me some of that jalapeno sausage and give me, couple of pieces of brisket. Let me have some cornbread with that. Let me have some, some potato salad. I mean, they're just knocking it down, and like some sweet tea, like a giant sweet tea. And then all of a sudden it's like, my God, man, like you guys, like I'm going to sleep. Like I couldn't do it. And I'd be like, okay, give me like, I'd be like, dude, I can just share off the plate. Like, we ain't sharing. Hell no, we ain't sharing. So like, I would take a box home. Like and they're looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, no, I can't eat that much. Like I cannot do that. And I just never adjusted. So everybody in Texas, not everybody, but I'd go out to these lunches and they're just chowing food, just a boatload of food. And then I'm going back to my office. I got a lot of work to do. I shut my door and a couch in there. And I'm like, I got to have a 20-minute power nap here. Like, you got to be kidding me. People are knocking. Hey, salespeople and stuff. And I'm like, eesh. Yeah, way too much at lunch. I'm just not a big lunch guy. I mean, I like it. I don't mind. Like, a little salad, this and that, munch on this, munch on that, kind of a grazer at lunch. And because, like I said, I've done middays, either 10 to 2 or 12 to 3 for so long that I got in the habit of having anything for lunch. I always had a bar in my backpack or something. Like I'd have a bar and some water. Like right now, a little water, little fit crunch bar. So I got to become like a bar and a water person. Until like dinner. So anyway, there you go. Not that you needed to know that. Okay. Beyond the asshole license plate, did I have anything else for sweet, clean, family friendly caboose? Just let me double check it real quick. Oh, let me check one thing. Hang on. I maybe have one more thing, but let me just double check. I meant to do this before the show. I apologize that I didn't. One more quick thing. Because I saw that today was a national day, and I'm not going to bring this up unless it is because this could affect you today. Stay right here. Hang on. Little show producing. It is 100%. 100%. Get this. Look at this. I'm going to unplug this thing. Look at this. You see that? See that? National Burrito Day, April 3rd, 2025. Is there anything that you debate more than a burrito? Look how good that burrito looks, by the way. National Burrito Day is today, April 3rd, 2015. I saw that right before the show. So look at this. National Burrito Day. National Burrito Day 2025 deals and freebies, Chipotle, Moe's, and more. I don't know what Moe's is, but Chipotle, obviously, way overrated burrito. If I say so myself, you should have invested in them a long time ago and you'd made a lot of money. But I'm not doing Chipotle on National Burrito Day, but today is National Burrito Day. So I am thinking that especially for the national change, you'll be able to get something today on National Burrito Day. But I will make an exception now that I said that I don't do anything for lunch normally. I have to go out and get a burrito today. I mean, I'm originally from Southern California, and I love burritos. And I wish I was in the city today because they do amazing burritos. There's a couple of places out by me. The East Bay is not the greatest place in the world for burritos, but I grew up in Southern California, love burritos. So I'm going to have to go out and get a burrito today because it is National Burrito Day. And to be honest with you, if I had my druthers, I love breakfast burritos. Like breakfast burritos are bomb. And there's a bunch of places in the city. Like if I was in the city today, woo, I would have absolutely got a breakfast burrito, like a chorizo breakfast burrito with the whole thing. I don't know about you, but when the only thing I don't want the potatoes in them because way too heavy, but like packed with all sorts of stuff, tomato, avocado, chorizo, the whole deal, super hot sauce. Like, we're probably going to go 20 more minutes now that we just brought up today is National Burrito Day. But I'm just saying, like, National Burrito Day is today. So you have to go out today and you don't have to, but I bet there's deals today on burritos. Yeah. Oh my God. Yep. See, now we're going to go on a big tangent. Really? Really? Like, Skills, you got to give me more. Like, what do you put in it? What's your magic sauce? What's your elixir? What's the great thing? I wish I was really good because I'm not bad on the barbecue. My wife can tell you, and I saw that she was in here a little bit earlier. I can cook quite a few things. I cannot roll a burrito to save my life. Eggs, bacon is great in a burrito. There's no doubt about it. Eggs, bacon. If you want to go the old school route, I got to have a little bit of avocado in there. Hot salsa I got to have in there. Oh, my God. Yeah. You live north of Houston? Oh, my God. Yeah. See, anything in Texas is absolutely. Really, I don't know of this place. Fiesta Taco in Dublin. Do they do good burritos there? See, I got to find a place today where it's legit, local kind of a thing. I'm not going. I refuse to go to Chipotle on National Burrito Day. That's just sacrilege. So I can't do that. I can't. We got to go get a burrito now, which means if I got to get a burrito, I got to get a margarita. Not really, but probably. But we got to find one because there was a really nice Mexican joint by us here that just closed, actually, that I'm really bummed out about. So anyway, let's make sure that we do that. Let me check real quick. National Burrito Day. Yeah, we do. We love this. See, there she is. Lund loves a boozy brunch. So do you. Everybody does. If you go out at brunch, you just gotta have a thing. Is Tolbert on right now? I thought he was on at 11. He's on right now? All right. Well, I'm gonna leave then because I don't want to compete against ourselves. Fiesta Taco is probably the best taqueria in San Ramon, Dublin area. I don't think they have margaritas though. That's okay. I can bring one with me. I'm going there today. Tacky, I will give you a full report from tomorrow. Fiesta Taco. Okay. There you go. We got to go. We got to go there and get a burrito. I'm going to do that right now. Actually, no. What time is it? 10:15? Yeah, I probably won't do that now. But anyway, we got to find a place. Fiesta Taco. My wife is here, so she'll remember that because I won't be able to do that. Let's see. Anywhere else? Chile, Colorado. That's a good call right there. That is a really good call. So good. Like red sauce. Okay. That's where I'm going to go today. Oh, yeah. There's a place, I know this is really weird, in Salt Lake City, which is that's west of the city, called the Red Iguana. Really good Mexican food. I know that's a crazy place to say that, but anyway. Luna Loca, $25 for a burrito. I saw that on the news. That's a little much. Fiesta. Look there's a second one for Fiesta Taco. That's where we're going. We're going there. Fiesta Taco, right? Fiesta Taco. Yeah, $25 for a burrito. I love burritos and everything, but wow, that's huge. Anyway, National Burrito Day. It's okay if you're late. You can come anytime you want. You can watch the show later. It's not a big deal. Thank goodness for YouTube. Exactly right. Let's see. What else do we got? Fiesta Taco. Please remember that, Lainey, because I won't remember that. So Fiesta Taco. That's where we're going today for lunch. And I'm going to break my thing of not doing big lunches like they do in Texas. I just brought that up and they went, oh, yeah, it's National Burrito Day. I totally forgot. Okay. Let's do it. We're doing it today. Fiesta Taco. All right. That's it for today. Plus, I hear that Tommy is on right now. I thought Tommy was on at 11. He's going to have, I know he's going to have on Kevin Franzen today. So let's do that. All right. Thanks for hanging out today. It is National Burrito Day. Keep that in mind as you're going through today's day. And I'm not saying that you can't go to, a national burrito joint. I'm sure they got good deals going on today. So do that. Warriors at Lakers will have a full report tomorrow. Can the Dubs get to 4? We played the schedule game today. I wouldn't pay JK max, which is what he's looking for still. Giants sweep Houston. I will be giving you live reports tomorrow, and make sure that you have your alerts on. Please give us a thumbs up today on the show and on every show so that the algorithm will like us. Please make sure you subscribe on John Lund Unleashed and Bay Area Sports Collective, but tune in tomorrow because I'm going to do a morning show for about an hour, about 8 o'clock Pacific time, as we always do Monday through Friday, and then I'm going to run off to Oracle Park tomorrow, and I'll have a full report, and I'll put a bunch of shorts together and everything. So if you can't be out there, then I can give you a feel of what opening day is going to be like, opening home day for the Giants. Giant sweep earlier, excited. Trip to Sacramento. I gave you a full report on that yesterday as I went to A's Cubs yesterday. Ohtani, can you appreciate him even though he's a Dodger? Most people say no. Kyle's appearance, random stuff like National Burrito Day, and the Sweet Clean Family Friendly Caboose Pistol about that license plate in Texas. All right, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday edition of the program. Thanks again to our good friends at Claw Daddy Arcades, a fine sponsor of the Krug Show. Have a pint on us for Friday's show with Krug. Great show. Thank you, Claw Daddy Arcades, and thank you for the donation to the show and the super. Much, much, much appreciated. All right, everybody have a great day. Have a great National Burrito Day. Please subscribe. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. John Lund Unleashed on Bay Area Sports Collective. Adios. Have a great National Burrito.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!